Gilmore's there, intercepted at the 4. Harmon forced the pick, and Gilmore comes up with it.
The Patriots Pregame Show is the world's largest virtual tailgate, featuring fans of the 6-time Super Bowl champion New England Patriots.
Brady under center, gives to Michelle, runs it left, a dive to the end zone. Touchdown Patriots. Michelle for 6.
That's the offense I know. That's the offense we love.
Hardy, Paul Perillo, and Mike Dussault are here to do the grilling as your hosts. This week, the Patriots are on the road against the Atlanta Falcons.
James White tucks it under the right arm, cuts it upfield, driving forward, diving to the goal line. A touchdown and a title for the Patriots.
I can't believe it.
Hardy, Paul Perillo, and Mike Dussault are here to get you ready for the game.
It's football time, fellas. Let's get into it.
Now, live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, Patriots Nation, welcome to the Patriots Pregame Show presented by Dunkin.
And so it begins. The wow, that's loud. Patriots pregame show fueled by Dunkin. It's Hardy, Paul Perillo, Mike Dussault, the Mats, Marine Matt, our fearless leader, along with Matt LePan and everyone else involved in the show. Thanks for being with us here as we get ready for some Thursday night football here tonight. Mike Dussault, let me ask you first. What time do you normally go to bed?
10-ish.
Paul Perillo?
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might doze off around 10:30 or so.
And what time do you think you'll be going to bed tonight?
2.
What time do you think the show's going to end?
I think 1:30.
1:35.
1:35.
I mean, but
I'm staying on campus tonight. Be quick.
Okay, so you can do that, and that's
Under his
great for you.
desk.
But for like the rest of us, I mean, is there a law? I mean, do we have to do things a certain amount of time in a certain way? I mean,
You got to give the fans what they want.
can we do part of the show like driving home from the phone? Can we call in?
Sounds dangerous.
I know Marine Matt still has to be here, but he's a Marine for crying out loud.
Oh, yeah, this is
you
not
know
the
that's
first-
nothing. to
MacGyver
him,
could set that up, I'm sure.
you know. Sorry.
It's
Well,
mobile studio.
more on that later in the postgame, but we got to get through our pregame first, and we'll talk with Kevin Knight from Falcoholics.com. I think it's a Atlanta Falcon website. I'm not sure.
Might be.
Falcoholics
Oh,
podcast.
It's not about drinking?
I don't think so.
Well, actually,
Or-
if it's
They're
a
drunk on
Falcons
Falcons.
website, maybe it's a little bit of both.
or it could be both.
I don't know if you heard, but 28-3.
Oh.
Been there, done that.
Either that, or
Made
it's
the
a
t-shirt.
fan site for the musical artist Falco.
I'm a little.
Rock Me Amadeus.
I got it. I
The Commissar.
I was waiting for the second one. I'm like, everybody's got Rock Me Amadeus, but
Please, come on.
I know, I'm talking
I've
about
always
it.
got the second single ready to go. I don't.
B-sides.
I don't care if it's Falco or
I think you
better
may
than
have-
Ezra. I'll give you
Edie
the second.
Falco? Maybe he's an Edie Falco fan.
I think you just learned me something there.
What? The Commissar?
I'm not sure I knew De Commissar was by Falco.
I'm not sure it
Well,
is
there you
either.
go.
Is
There
it?
you go. I don't know.
That's
You're
what we're
there,
going with until somebody corrects us.
Well,
And
I
believe
would
me,
never
they
doubt
will.
you, and now I'm going to have to look it up.
Yeah, Derek Commissar. Yep, song by Falco. Got it.
Yeah, you just learned me something.
All right, well, this is fun.
That was on the rundown.
Okay,
right?
so that's a show. There's a
5
show.
minutes on Falco.
We're going to do that.
So can I throw something out there real quick, and then we'll get to the
Keys?
show. Yeah, the
Yeah,
show and
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
I just want to have this can be a yes or no answer. You don't have to give me any thought. But I was listening to my boys Felger and Mads today as I was driving here
Yeah.
to do our show, and there was a discussion about trap games.
I have
Okay.
I have a whole thing on trap games for us ready to go, but please.
Okay, would you define a trap game before or after, and does the fact that your team won or lost have anything to do with it being a trap game?
In the game prior, if you won or lost the game prior,
no,
like
so,
Sundays, you mean?
Like, okay, let's say we can all agree that the Patriots are coming off a huge win. The Falcons are coming off a huge loss where they got embarrassed. The Patriots have some big games coming up. This would seem to be a soft spot in the middle, short week.
Yeah.
Kind of trap-ish, right? Okay, I'm not saying whether or not, I'm not telling you whether or not you should say it's a trap game.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if you think it's a trap game, if they win it, does it eliminate the fact that it was a trap game, or is it was a trap game and they responded, they didn't fall into the trap?
Yeah.
Which one, like which side would you fall on?
I just have to do one disclaimer of my SNL. It's just
Sure.
it's a Thursday night game, which is just a little weird to begin with. You know, like usually I think
Yeah.
of a trap game as a crappy team sandwiched in between two huge matchups, and you're looking ahead to. And I guess you could say that with the Colts.
So if that happens, and your team wins it, is it still a trap game, but you responded, it didn't fall into the trap, or is it not a trap game because you won?
I don't think it's a trap game. I mean, it's a different Patriots team. Can I get specific on it though? I don't think this is a trap game.
You're thinking about this too much.
I don't think
Forget
it's a
the
trap game.
Patriots.
No
Well,
traps.
Let's call this a widget game. Forget the Patriots. The widgets are coming off a huge win,
Yep.
and they're playing a bad team this week.
With another good team.
With another good team coming up
for their
next
next
week.
game.
Forget the Patriots. Forget Atlanta and New England. Your team coming off a big emotional win, getting ready in 2 weeks to play another big game, and in between there's a bad team you're playing. Is that a trap game?
Yeah.
If you win, is it no longer a trap game, or is it just you did a good job of not falling into the trap?
Yeah. B. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Sure.
Okay.
And Felger and Maz also agree with us. For some reason,
doesn't agree?
Jim Murray says that it's only a trap game if you lose.
I have a wrinkle to add to this, and I am not I'm not being facetious or exaggerating when I say I think we can talk about this for a half an hour later on in the show, and I think we will.
Was that in the rundown?
But I will I will preface all of this by saying
It says here.
we are, as Fred Durst would say, in agreeance.
Agreement.
Okay. You can identify a trap game before, during, or after. You can win or lose.
I agree.
Right?
I'm with you.
These are all made up things in life.
Yeah.
And I think this game is close to a prototype for or the prime example of a trap game. I will now say at the end of all this, I don't think trap games exist anymore. Because there is so much conversation.
Yeah, that's a different argument. And you might be right.
And I think I am right.
Yeah.
And that there's so much analysis and so much written and so many things that are podcast and broadcast. To the very notion that the three of us and Melvin, bless his heart, who is at the game tonight, we're going to be talking with him in a minute, in Tennessee, or anyone else who can identify the trap game, but somehow Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels and everyone else somehow didn't see the trap.
Oh, I don't think that you aren't aware that it's a trap game going in, but sometimes it's human.
Then it's not really a trap.
It's human nature.
If you know that it's a trap game, it ceases to be a trap game.
I think it's human nature sometimes, you know. I know Coach says that this team is good, but look at them. They stink in everything. We can beat this team.
Yeah.
All right, lots more on that later.
Lots more.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Maybe
But
the
first,
whole post-game show.
keys to the game.
Why did you leave the keys up on the table? You wanted to.
You've waited all week for it.
The whole team's in the locker room right now just listening to this, waiting to hear what you're going to say.
Without these keys, the Patriots are destined and doomed to fail.
Here are Hardy, Paul, and Mike's keys to the game.
Why did I steal your key to the game also?
You have the key to the game. You have the right one.
In Atlanta, the Patriots are in their locker room right now listening to Patriots.com, watching us on the lovely video feed that accompanies this show. And we will now give you, gentlemen, the keys to success and victory tonight against the Falcons. Starting with you, Mike Dussault. The most important of the keys is...
Yeah, take away Kyle Pitts. That's all I got for you tonight. There's plenty I could say about playing just a clean game, not making mistakes on a Thursday night on a short week. I think, maybe the team that plays cleaner will be the most likely to win. But I just think Kyle Pitts is their number one weapon. He's the only guy that's healthy. They go to him all the time. They use him more as a wide receiver. He's a big dude. 4th overall draft pick. I think he's the guy that in big moments you just got to take him away. And I'm sure that they've already figured that out and they've got a full plan for him. But when you look at this team, I respect, Matt Ryan as a quarterback. Certainly he could get going and get hot tonight and complete some passes. But I just don't see the Falcons being able to have success if they take Kyle Pitts out of the game like they usually can do, take somebody out of the game. And I think he's the focal point on both sides of the ball.
All right, that's excellent key. Paul, what is yours?
Yeah, I love Mike's key. I am going to say, and this might be a little window into how I feel about trap games, I think you need to protect the football tonight and make sure you don't turn it over.
Yeah.
Don't give Atlanta any easy points. Make them earn it. I think that Mike is right. I think really all they have going for them right now is Matt Ryan and Kyle Pitts. I think they have a bunch of 4-level receivers, not even 3s and 2s and 3s.
Russell Gage.
Russell Gage is about the best they have. So I don't think these guys have a lot of firepower if you don't help them. So protect the football. Don't make anything easy for Atlanta, and you should be able to come away with a victory.
It's a good one, Paul, and I think mine, like yours, is just a good key for any week, and that's win the third downs. Yeah. You saw what it did for you last week.
Amazing.
And I wouldn't – of course you would say this about any game, but I wouldn't say it necessarily about every team. I wouldn't say it about – in hindsight, looking at the Browns and seeing what they did, okay, when they were forced into got to go for it on fourth down situations, it was ridiculous, right? So, and sometimes it doesn't matter as much. It's like other teams, it would matter. It's like, you know what? I want to win on third down, but if you're playing, say, the Ravens and Lamar Jackson might be able to make a play, or Dak Prescott or some other quarterbacks who it's like, you know what, just because you win third down doesn't mean the series is over if you get up in a game and you get them in some tight spots. I think tonight it's important. You saw how easy it made it for you against the Cleveland Browns. You've seen in other wins this year, when you win the third down battle, it's like winning the rebounding battle in an NBA game. It is, I think, the sneaky key to success in a lot of football games. Get off the field when your defense is out there. Get a stop on third down. Stay on the field by converting on third downs on offense. And that's a good, solid key on what could otherwise be a trap game. Oh, it's a trap. Don't let them win the third down battle, guys.
Yeah, I think their third down performance on offense, they're fourth in the league, converting 46.9%. I think that's excellent for a new offense, for a rookie quarterback, and that's not just they've had a few good games with it. I think all year they've had some success on third downs. That's been one of the most consistent and impressive things of this offense so far.
Well, let's grab a couple of calls here now that we got our keys out of the way.
And real quick, I'm going to do my little leaving the room much earlier tonight.
I think we have a song too
in a couple of minutes. So I got time for a couple of phone calls.
Well, Mike and I have our thing to talk about while you're out of the room, so that's fine.
Trap games.
It's more sitcom.
Trap music, actually. It's
Trap Queen.
Although you do like network sitcoms.
I do.
Yeah. So you're probably going to miss out on this conversation, but I like to keep it.
You're not going to do that off the top of the show, are you?
When you leave the room,
okay.
Deuce and I are going to have some fun, and we're going to talk about some non-football stuff.
Okay.
Because you get all upset.
I love sitcoms.
I am the opposite of getting upset when we're not talking about the football.
Actually, I'm going to talk to
specifically.
You and Deuce get to spend a lot of time together.
We do,
and I love Deuce.
We talk a lot of random stuff. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't had as much time to talk to him, so I need to find out some things from him that you probably already know.
Oh,
so we'll do that while you're out of the room.
Okay,
that's all. All right,
I appreciate it.
Do we still have time to talk to Melvin before we go to our Behind the Enemy Lines guest? All right, I'm going to pull him up right now. Melvin in Tennessee, who is at the game tonight. Melvin, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, y'all?
What's up, y'all? What's going on?
Yo.
Yep. I would say it's at least 60, max 60-40 Patriots fans. It seems like it's going to be a Patriots very heavy fan-based game. So just knock Atlanta out early. They're not that good, to be honest. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that gives me some type of trepidation with any game. You give a team like that. I don't know if you're talking about trap games, but give a bad team a little chance by helping them out. Just don't do anything stupid early and kind of.
That's Paul's point.
The little chance that they got.
Yep.
So
I'm with you, Melvin.
Yep. And that's all I got. I know y'all got some stuff to do, so I'll let y'all go.
Melvin, have a good time
at
the game
tonight.
Buddy. Thanks.
Will do.
And I think that's like the thing. If this, trap game, whatever, but if they regress tonight, if they go back to the penalties and the mistakes and that stuff that they've done plenty of times earlier in the season, that's the formula that's going to just derail this hype train that was going off the rails this week. That's what will reset them, and then we're really talking about, was this a trap game? Did they not get ready for it? I think that's what I would worry about. Like you said, the mistakes, the penalties right off the bat, set the tone. Give Atlanta a chance. Let them, move the ball a little bit, because they have moved the ball this year at times. I mean, it's been sporadic, but just don't give this team any hope. I don't think that if you get off to a good start, I don't know how competitive this team is going to be if you put them in that in that position early.
Here's something that kind of worries me a little bit about this game tonight, and that is the fact that every team that and we're starting to think that the Patriots could be a good football team. It wasn't too long ago when they were like, this is just a bad team here,
I agree.
sitting at 2-4.
When we were watching that Houston win, I don't think too many of us were thinking, It's a good football team.
But when you have a win like you did last week, and it's just an absolute dominant performance the week before that, you start thinking maybe we've got a good football team here.
Yeah.
Okay, and maybe some people are already there. Every good team in the league has lost to a team they should not have lost to so far in this season.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's
You go in there-
happened a lot. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm not. Oh, it happens every season. No, it doesn't.
Well, the
No.
Patriots have too.
Yeah. Me.
Miami.
I don't. Another thing we can talk about for a half an hour. I'm glad you said that because I don't count that one. You could, but I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think losing to a 3-7 team is like losing to a 2-8 team. I think it's the same.
Well played.
I don't want to
Paul.
get it.
I'm dropping the mic.
All right. Oh, and he's going to walk out. All right. Let's go behind enemy lines. Here we go.
You know the view from New England,
We go behind enemy lines.
but what about the view from the other side?
Well, I'm doing great, even though I miss being there with you guys.
And that's why you're our favorite pregame show guest every year.
You guys know you tell everybody that.
Time now to go behind enemy lines.
My God, it's coming right for us!
We now go to Kevin Knight, who is on Twitter at Falcoholic Kevin, editor and writer at The Falcoholic. And he's a host and he produces Falcoholic Live. Joining us now as we go behind enemy lines. Kevin, what's going on?
Hey, going good. How are you guys doing tonight?
Thanks for being on with this. Thefalcoholic.com, which, by the way, we were debating whether or not this was just a Falcon site, and I know the answer now because I've researched it, but or is it a Falcons alcohol site, or is it for the 80s artist Falco? So why don't you tell us?
Well, if you check the site on April Fool's Day a couple years ago, we actually changed the name to the Flaccoholic too. So we've had a couple of themes throughout the years, but mostly it's Falcons. And depending on which writer you ask, maybe there is a bit of an alcohol tint to it as well. But yeah, it's mostly Falcons.
Well, the first banner ad that does pop up is for the wine club when you log on to the Falcoholic.com. At least it did the first time I logged on to it. So it's a bit of both, Kevin.
Yeah, a little both, especially this season.
Yeah.
So, Kev, just off the top, I got to ask you about Kyle Pitts. Everybody knew he was going to be outstanding. You guys took him 4th overall. What have you seen out of him, his development, just over the course of the season, and how key is he to their attack tonight with, Patterson potentially out along with the other guys that are out?
Yeah, I mean, Pitts has been as advertised. He was awesome in training camp. Had a little bit of a slow start, which is, of course, not surprising for a rookie tight end. Had those 2 huge games, one against the Dolphins, who I'm sure you guys are very familiar with. And since then it's been a little quieter. He's tended to have a big start to games and then sort of fallen off late. And I think it's because teams figure out that, like you mentioned, the Falcons don't really have anyone else to go to right now other than Kyle Pitts. Calvin Ridley's on the NFI, and a lot of their weapons, including Cordell Patterson last week, are hurt. So it's basically Kyle Pitts or bust for the offense. But surprisingly, even with that, Pitts hasn't really been peppered with the number of targets you'd sort of expect, considering how limited the Falcons' weapons are outside of him.
Kevin, you're going through the list of games for your picks this week, and you mentioned all the upsets and the blowouts and how hard it is to pick. Were you surprised when the line came out on this one? I mean, we're still talking about a rookie quarterback with the Patriots here. They're going on the road in a short week, laying 6.5, 7, I think it was in some points. It still seems like a big number for the Patriots, who are now, possess a winning record, but they haven't had one for all that long. Be laying that kind of points on the road.
Yeah, part of it's probably because the Falcons have been really bad at home. They haven't won a home game all year, unless you count the Jets game, which was in London, but that's not really at home. But it's probably that. Probably also something to do with the fact that the Falcons lost 43-3 last week. And probably also something to do with the Patriots winning 45-7 last week. So I mean, I think the line's pretty fair from that angle. The Patriots just match up really well with the Falcons, so I do think it's a pretty fair line. And this team has tended to keep it close more often than not, but I wouldn't be shocked if it gets out of hand also based on what we saw last week.
We talked a lot about Dean Pease, who was, defensive coordinator here for a bunch of years, as well as, the Titans, the Ravens. He's cooked up some problems for the Patriots, offense in the past, the offense he's familiar with. What have you seen out of Atlanta's defense, and what is, Dean Pease kind of putting together there for you guys?
I like what Dean Pease is doing. He's really strapped with, in my opinion, maybe the least talented defense in the NFL, if not, a bottom 5 unit. The Falcons did get Dante Fowler last week back off of IR, but he leads the team with 2 sacks, and that's basically where the pass rush is. So when you can't rush the passer, a lot of the stuff that Dean Pease likes to do on the back end, rotating safeties, trying to disguise his coverages and throw a lot at quarterbacks, it's less effective when you can't get pressure. You can hide your single high coverage or switch to cover 2 all you want, but if the quarterback has 10 seconds to get the ball out, it's not going to matter a whole lot. So he's pretty limited with what he can do. I think he mentioned either this week or last week that he's only been able to really implement 30% of his playbook because of how limited the team is right now defensively. Statistically, other than in points scored, the Falcons defense isn't allowing necessarily a ton of yardage, particularly in the passing game, but they've also not played a lot of good offenses. And I think, as we saw against Dallas, when you have an offense that's legitimately a great offense in terms of talent, the skill positions with a great quarterback and a strong offensive line, the Falcons defense, they just don't have a lot of answers for it. And while the Patriots offense isn't as star-studded as Dallas is in terms of the skill positions, I think the Patriots match up well with the Falcons in that they have a really healthy, really good offensive line, and they have a really strong running game, which the Falcons, outside of a few games here and there, have really struggled to stop.
Kevin Knight is with the Falcoholics, thefalcoholics.com, at Falcoholic Kevin on Twitter. You mentioned, Kevin, that when you tweet, you said this on your actual Twitter feed, that when you say anything about Matt Ryan, that the Falcons fans come at you in full force. I'm curious as to what they say and what type of things they use to defend Matt Ryan. I think the obvious talent is there, but at some point, you just have to look at results. I wonder how people come at you and what they say when they do.
Yeah, there's definitely 2 camps, which is Matt Ryan is not the problem and that Matt Ryan is the problem. And, neither camp is correct. It's more of a systemic issue than one player, and it always sort of is. But, I was tweeting about how the Falcons, probably will be extending Matt Ryan this offseason, and it goes back to their decision at 4. They took Kyle Pitts. They did not take Justin Fields or Mac Jones or any of the other available quarterbacks. So, they've sort of backed themselves into a corner now with this deal. Their cap is in a terrible place. Thomas Dimitroff did them no favors when he left town, trying to sort of maximize the roster and win now. So they had to basically max restructure Ryan's contract this offseason just to get enough money to sign enough players to field a team. Wow. And that is leading to now in 2022, his cap hit will be $48 million. Ooh. So there's not a lot of great ways to deal with that. One of them would be an extension, which is probably what's going to happen. The other one would be trying to trade Ryan after June 1st, which very difficult to pull off. I think, and also with this quarterback class being, by all accounts, not great, it's probably looking like they're going to stick with Ryan. And based on how Ryan's played when the team has been sort of healthier and he's had time in the pocket, he's been playing some of his best football. So I don't think it's necessarily the wrong decision at this point to sort of try to maximize your window with Ryan and maybe make a run here in the next couple of years. But you have to start winning soon with Ryan. And I think it's hard to sort of look at the pick of Kyle Pitts and be like, that's a bad pick, because it looks like this might be a Hall of Fame type of player. But, passing on a quarterback at the top, are you going to have a chance to add a player of the caliber of Justin Fields or Mac Jones again anytime soon? And I just don't know that they will. So.
Yeah, just organizationally, I think the team is in a rough place that you've written about and talked about, too, when it comes to, well, they're not going to – very few teams, as you point out, are going to admit to a rebuilding year. But when you look at the cap situation that the Falcons are in and what they're trying to do personnel-wise, it is kind of a rebuild, but doing it with a bad cap situation and being in a market where fans don't want to hear that. Very few fans do unless it's in a market where they're just kind of used to a perpetual rebuild.
Right. I mean, this isn't Detroit or Jacksonville, where it seems like those teams are just sort of always going through it. And, you feel for those guys. But Arthur Blank is not an owner that's willing to sort of say that to the fans. And I don't think the plan was for this team to be bad, certainly. And 4-5, they've probably overperformed. But 4-5 is far from being a bad team. So I think that this is always going to be a transitional year for them. This is sort of evaluate the pieces left from the previous regime, see what you want to keep, what you want to change, and then try to go forward. Apparently, it's going to be going forward with Matt Ryan, but they've got a lot of decisions to make with a lot of other players. Deion Jones is a person that could be on the trade block this offseason. Calvin Ridley's status, obviously, very much up in the air. Before he went on the NFI list, he was not necessarily thriving in this system, so there's a chance the Falcons maybe try to trade Ridley on his fifth-year option next year to find a player that might fit Arthur Smith's scheme a little bit better. But it's very early in the process, and the Falcons either are going to trade some of these players to get cap space, or they're going to depend almost entirely on the draft to fix the roster, and it's going to be tough either way. So.
All right, Kevin, we always ask for a score prediction for the game for our Behind the Enemy Lines guests. So what do you have for tonight?
I think the Patriots will win this one. I think the Falcons probably stay in it for most of the game, but I do think the Patriots sort of will grind them down with Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson both back. I think it's going to end up something like 31-17 with the Patriots on top. But hopefully be a good game for most of it.
Yeah, well, that's all we want on a late night game like this. When let's face it, our attention could wane at some point, but we got a 2-hour post game to think about too. So
exactly.
Yeah, Kevin, really appreciate the time. Thanks so much. At Falcoholic Kevin on Twitter, thefalcoholics.com. We appreciate it. Thanks, Kevin.
Yep, thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, there he goes. Kevin Knight there with the Falcoholics. It is about the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm glad we cleared that up. For a second there, I thought we were going to have to ask him a bunch of questions about 80s band, and I don't have that.
No. We don't. And now, look, we got people on hold, but we also have a song.
Not your dude.
He's finally left the room. We're gonna talk about things he doesn't like. Maybe Jaws too. He hates them. I don't really know, but it'll definitely be something that Paulie doesn't like to talk about.
Let's see what else about Pop Tarts you guys have.
It's fantastic. Great song.
It's a
Great
rock
song.
ballad. That's a
I
rock
love
ballad.
it.
A little Metallica. I've had a little Metallica vibe in that little.
But it's a little butt rocky too. So
Yeah,
I dig it. Yeah.
Good job, man.
Had Billy Madison passes the third grade in my head.
Yes.
Billy passed the third grade.
It's really good. All right.
Good stuff.
What I wanted to know from you, Deuce, while Paul is out of the room.
Better hurry.
I know just some of the sitcom people that you worked with during your time in L.A. You mentioned one of the producers or showrunners or something earlier.
Chuck Lorre. Yeah.
Why don't you give us a name? Why don't you drop a couple of names here that's going to impress me and impress everybody?
Well, Chuck Lorre was a good one. I mean, he's created a ton of television. 2.5 Men. Mitch Hurwitz worked closely with Mitch Hurwitz. Arrested Development. He was a big one.
Actors. We need actors.
Matthew Perry. Did a lot with Matthew Perry.
Matthew
did
Perry, there we go.
The Odd Couple remake with him and Thomas Lennon.
How was Matthew Perry?
He was fine. He's fine. Yeah, I don't know what I'm legally allowed to say right now.
Impaired?
Sometimes.
Okay. All right.
He was. It was a tough show just because we kept kind of shooting it, and then they'd air a couple, and then we'd be waiting, and then we're gonna shoot 4 more. Usually get like a full order. So they kind of strung us along. But he was fine. It was it's obviously post Friends. Thomas Lennon. He's like you, Hardy. He's talented. He can play different instruments. They would always
Thomas Lennon fan. I agree with him.
They would always find something he could do, and you can he could play like the giant, I don't know, whatever, like the giant bass
cello.
With the thing, cello maybe. And let's work that into the show. I mean, he could do anything. So that was a good one. Who else? I mean, Charlie Sheen, obviously. That was, we had him plenty. Which
impaired also.
I mean, honestly, my experience with Charlie Sheen was he was completely professional, and the whole time we were kind of working directly with him. He was great, and then we kind of had a breakup, and then the Tiger Blood thing happened, and he went crazy. But funniest story about him was just that he's coming into the office. This is like after all that stuff had happened. This is like heart of crazy Charlie Sheen. And a lot of the girls assistants that sat out front like, oh, Charlie Sheen's coming in, like, oh, gross. And he comes in and he's like, "Hey, how are you?" You know, like just super charming. And like every girl there that was like, "Ew," was like a little bit swooning by him, even though it was like gross.
Well, I
post Charlie Sheen.
I imagine that he has that thing that a lot of politicians do, and people who hate Bill Clinton or hated George Bush. Once they meet him, they all say the same thing about Trump. It's like, you know what? He makes you feel like the most important guy in the room. And I don't know if I heard it as much about Trump, but I certainly heard it about.
Sure, I remember a lot of those about Trump.
I heard it about
lot of fake news back there.
Yeah, both Bush and Clinton, who back before we thought we knew what division really was. Those two guys divided the country, and people who couldn't stand either one. I've spoken to them both, and they said, "Great, I couldn't stand him. I met him. Oh my God, it was the best, just the best." All right, well, good times. Yeah. Paul's back in the room now.
So I have to say that I thought it was a joke, but I'm a little hurt.
What?
That you choose to talk about the fun stuff when I leave.
I was very brief. Very brief.
Do you know what? Do you want to know what it is? Do you want me to pull down the fourth wall here? It's just another thing to help kill this 2 hours. It's a long show, right? So it's a benchmark
benchmark. But what
bit.
makes you think that I don't need something to get me through the long show? Like sitcom talk.
You got to step out of the room for a minute.
To talk about this with different people.
More of the same.
It was indicated during the theme song that you don't like to talk about Jaws 2.
There's Bill.
Puffy jacket. They're Damian Harris.
I don't like to talk about Jaws 2. I don't hate Jaws 2 like most. No, it's nothing. It's nowhere even close. It's bad. No. I'm not trying to tell you it's good. It's not. It's bad.
But I think. I
don't hate it like other people do.
I reserve bad for Jaws 3.
Yes.
And Jaws 4: The Revenge.
Correct.
Which is.
How can anything be bad when compared to the Jaws? And it's swimming.
When they're in the plane and they're showing the ocean, and you're supposed to ostensibly think that Jaws is actually swimming down the coast.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I have to check out there.
Right. And
I like Jaws 2.
As Hardy would say.
Drop the pen. My only thing with Jaws 2, and I watched it not too long ago when we all have been back in this, and it's so funny that everyone's like, "This again, Martin?
Right.
Really?
Like they
the
make
shark?
him out,
they
make him out to be the crazy.
Like he's still crazy from it. Like not that it just happened, and they all seem to just have completely forgotten.
And I agree with that. It's bad. It's bad.
I tell you what what took me the longest time to figure out what was going on from Jaws 2 was when he comes out of the shark tower. And he's waving his gun around, and he shoots everything.
Yeah, it's bluefish.
Like, why are they? As a kid, when I watched, I'm like, why are they then picking up bullets from the sand? He shot the bullets into the water. I didn't understand shells.
Did he empty out the revolver and then he
shells.
Did a quick reload to get a few more bluefish?
I grew up in Michigan around a lot of guns, but not so many that I understood the difference between shells.
Shooting fish is a whole nother level, too.
Help me out, Marine. Shells and actual projectiles.
Did you ever shoot
Environmental
a fish?
cleanup party, come on.
Yeah, what? Never shoot a fish.
Police your area.
I never shot a fish.
So what sitcom were you talking about?
He was just asking some of the he was asking for some of the big cheesies that
left
crossed
a mark
patches.
on.
Yeah,
I just want to know the big names that he worked with. That's all.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Good. Great. Grand.
Now we can. Now we can.
Where's that from? I know it's engraved in my head, but I don't know.
Billy Madison, I think.
Right.
Yeah, Billy Madison, right?
Good. Great. Grand.
It's
never seen it.
Wow.
Ooh, I know.
It's rare that Paulie's left speechless. Even
that's Chris Farley and Billy Madison.
Yeah.
Adam
Sandler. Momentarily.
I like Adam Sandler in a number of things.
Good, great.
But like the Billy Madison, Waterboy, even like Happy Gilmore as a golf guy, I'm like, you know what, Deuce?
It's a whole vibe, Adam
Sandler. I don't think they're very good movies. I get the sense of watching them.
Of course they're not.
Well, no.
But they're hilarious.
Like Grown Ups is like a ridiculously foul and completely over the top farce, but it's still a well-made movie. I look at Grown Ups and I'm like, is this an actual, like, this have money behind it? Yeah. Like, they actually had people on the set?
Grown Ups, it was later. I never saw it. I mean, I know what it is, but it's like
Sandler
all those guys,
and
that
Chris
whole
Rock
crew and their
Wait, Grown Ups I saw, but what's a complete farce and over the top, but it was well made?
Step Brothers.
Step Brothers. I think you said. I think you said Grown Ups.
I love that.
Oh, okay.
I love that.
Step Brothers is like a well-made movie. I watched some of these other Adam Sandler movies. They just look cheap.
Yeah.
They feel cheap. The scripts, obviously, not enough people got their hands on. They just said, that's funny. Go with that. It's like, no, not really.
Yeah.
They all have moments.
Yeah.
Grown Ups. Yeah, it's worth watching just to sort of
It's
shut
not.
your brain off. But
It's not.
But it's not. Like, I'm not a huge Adam Sandler fan.
Let me tell you
But
why.
Billy Madison is hilarious.
Let me tell you what is most offensive to me about Grown Ups. When someone says something funny, all the other characters in the scene laugh to let you know as an audience member something funny just happened.
There you go.
That's horrific.
Don't be so highbrow.
No.
I'm not highbrow. I just told you how much I love Step
You
Brothers.
like sitcoms. You like the laugh track in sitcoms, right?
Yeah, I do. Because sometimes you need to know when to laugh in a sitcom.
You're not a very
I had
tolerant person.
I had a random interaction with Adam Sandler when I lived in California. If you want to touch on those a little bit. Random, like he just came into an ice cream shop in Malibu when I was there with my kids.
Yeah.
And there were just people lining up outside to meet him. I had a Patriots hat on, of course. And he's like, hey, are you a Patriots fan? Or, asked me a little bit. And it was just, a stupid little encounter with him. And then he snuck out the back way with his kids in Malibu in this ice cream place.
So that also tells me that this whole notion that stars can be stars in L.A. without people bothering them is nonsense.
No, and he was like, hey, buddy, can I sneak out the back? And like this happens all. I mean, you just people all gathering up. I didn't bug him, but yeah,
I
he
guess
came up to me.
And I hear that about New York too. I am not a fan of New York. I do not wish to go into the city for a weekend at any point. It means nothing to me. But
Very small doses for me.
they say that about New York. Like you can be Robert De Niro and walk down the street in New York and people
no
will
one
not
will bother
bother
you.
you. But I guess not in L.A.
Not Paul Perillo, though. If you go down,
I've done it. Don't try to walk through Patriot Place with Paul Perillo. You'll never get where you need to go. You're just doing pictures.
He's not lying.
Signing.
Do we have to break? All right, Ken, Patty, Brandon, just hold on. It's so
BRB,
brief.
BRB.
You won't even believe it's a break, and we'll get to you as soon as we return.
TouchView Interactive is here to support your hybrid learning, distance learning, and video conferencing needs with easy-to-use tools that allow end users to collaborate, interact, and present seamlessly. TouchView Interactive offers a comprehensive line of accessories and software to support your audio-visual needs. Outfit your classrooms and presentation spaces with the future of interactive display technology. Visit touchview.com for more info. Offered by the Oakers Company, celebrating 100 years of service and support.
According to AWS Next Gen Stats, Lockett had a 25.9% chance to catch that. What a play!
AWS, you can stat that.
King's right, 2 wide banana, alert diamond. Stat that.
How is that even possible?
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
Like, you don't understand, what sports it. Yes, you understand. Don't.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Hold on, I popped my headphones right out here. I know. My really nice.
The end of that break sneak up on you?
Bose headphones. Here it did. Bose, by the way, proud to be the official sound and official headphones of the New England Patriots and the NFL. Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds. Rule the quiet. Learn more at Bose.com. To the phones we go, 855-PATS-500. Emails also, webradio@patriots.com. Ken in the Navy, what's going on?
Too long. The break was too long for him.
Good job, Hardy.
You know Fred's listening, too.
Yeah. Fred had back-to-backers the other day, Tuesday.
Oh, thank you for telling me that, because otherwise I would not have known. Thank you.
I told him, nice job, Hardy, both times.
Good. That's fine.
They be there for life.
Patty in Agawam. He's always there. What's up, Patty?
Ken's coming back.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you know about Metallica?
A little bit.
Yeah, me too.
It's good stuff.
So, I got a couple keys to the game, and to me, key number one is pound the ball with Damian Harris. I think we're going to see a lot of him tonight, not so much from Andre Stevenson coming off of a short week. And also, I think that'll set up the play action. I think we could throw on this team. And, forget about Kyle Pitts. I think I can't think of the dude's name, but the right tackle for the Falcons is not good. And I think if just coming after them with 4 or 5 guys should do the job. Let's get after these guys. I was cute during the week and said I picked the Pats to win 34-28 in overtime, but really I see this game more of maybe a 28 or 31-10 game. I don't think the Falcons have much fight in them. Aside from Pitts and Ryan and Grady Jarrett, they don't have much talent on this team.
Yeah.
A lot of predictions are going along those lines, and thanks for the call, Pat. The notion that it's going to be a 30-something game for the Patriots, something in the low teens maybe for the Falcons. I don't want to get too far away from the place where we all were 2-3 weeks ago, which was where we're not penciling any wins for any teams. And I get it, the Falcons are bad and they haven't won at home, and I get all that and I understand all that. It's still a short week with a rookie quarterback,
right?
And we're still dealing with a rookie quarterback that at some point you almost kind of expect them to have a rookie letdown game, and maybe it's not necessarily a plateau or an ascension, but these guys he's never played on a short week.
Yep.
Mac Jones has never had a short week in his life.
And I mean, so should we be worried about the next game because he's never had a long week either?
What's he going to get into this weekend?
I kid because I care.
He's still mad about the fun time while Paul leaves the room.
We'll give
I
him some
kid
fun
because I care.
I mean, I think that's,
then yes, we should.
Okay.
I would not be surprised tonight to see Mac Jones kind of struggling to read the field a little bit with Dean Pease, and that's what Josh and Bill both talked about this week of. You see one thing pre-snap and then it changes post-snap. I mean, he has seen some of that before, but I think Dean Pease has a pretty good feel of what the Patriots like to do and is unpredictable. That was kind of the thing I took from Bill and Josh this week of you never know what you're going to get with Dean Pease's defense. Now, he doesn't have a lot of pieces to play with, as our guest Kevin said, but I think he's going to spin the dial a little bit and challenge Mac Jones post-snap to read and decipher what they're doing. So for me, I think if tonight is to be the game that some people are predicting, it's on the defense, right? I mean this is it. They're coming on. Everybody's feeling great. They were excellent last week. They're playing in sync. Barmore, Judon, like I said, the hype train is going. Hightower and Van Noy, they're rounding into form. Everything's coming together. So if that's all true tonight, you got to really turn the screws on this Atlanta offense and shut them down and give Mac the opportunity to work through some things. If he has a little bit of a slow start, maybe we get another pick six or an interception or fumble that sets up the Patriots with some good field position that they're then able to capitalize on. But I think if this is to be the kind of game, you need that kind of game. You need the defense to step up, lead the way. Don't give the Falcons any hope. Come out, play, pick up where you left off last week, get all over it, win the line of scrimmage, and let them know they got no chance tonight.
Yeah, and along those lines, because it's a short week, and the Patriots had very little practice time, you're basically going in with the most basic game plan that you've had all year. It's basically what you do well, and you assuming the other team is going to be doing what they've been doing all year. Because there's not enough time to, sort of get that whole game plan together. You get in on Tuesday, you go out on Wednesday, you implement the game plan, and you have 3 days to work on it, and then get ready for the game. There's no time for that. There's walkthroughs this week, and that's really it. So to Mike's point, maybe if Mac's not reading the field as well, that would be an indication that a lot of what's happening from week to week is happening during the week in practice, and he's been able to implement it in games because he's so prepared. I think Atlanta is just not good enough to really do anything about it, and I think the Patriots will be fine tonight. But if some of those things happen, that's the short week thing that Hardy, you're very concerned about because Max never played in a short week.
I'm just saying. No.
He has played in the stadium though.
He has.
SEC champion.
Okay. You know what I'm trying to say, but I'm going to say it anyway.
I do.
All right. Before you go predicting blowout wins for the Patriots, let's just remember that this was a team a couple of weeks ago where we wouldn't pencil in a win against
I'm not penciling in wins against anybody. Fred and I are in agreement. Who said that?
Fred Durst.
Fred
Another
Durst.
Fred.
Yes, as Fred Durst said, Fred Kirsch and I are in agreement. No penciling in wins for the Patriots.
But also, it's a rookie quarterback still who is all this is still relatively new to him. And you mentioned what's Dean Pease going to dial up for him? Is it possible that they show him something that he doesn't handle well because he's seen it for the first time ever? I would say it's not only possible, it's likely. Doesn't mean it's going to be tonight, but it's going to happen. And the Patriots will almost certainly lose a game to a team they should not lose to. More on that coming up in a moment. We touched on it briefly earlier. But
they could lose again to a team that they shouldn't lose. I agree with you. That's not the same because of when it happened.
Thank you. All right. Ken in the Navy. You're actually here this time. What's up, Ken?
I am. A fine Navy evening to you all.
Ahoy, polloi.
That's right. Ahoy, polloi. I call in for another question for Deuce.
Yeah.
First of all, I gotta say, I'm so sorry Paul missed that. It actually was a really, really interesting conversation you and Deuce had.
He's heard all those. Don't worry.
Don't do that.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry. I'm going to make them repeat it all while we're watching the first quarter.
There you go. Now, Deuce, I really admire your pivot in your career. I didn't realize you were that involved in Hollywood. Kudos to you. That's a really hard thing to pull off.
Yeah, I'm the only one that has nothing else going on in life.
Yeah, I was lucky. I got in with a production company and was able to do stuff there, and I was blogging the Patriots on the side while I was working that. So it was a lot of fun out there, but I'm much more happy here with these wonderful folks.
And also going with the Hollywood no shave here for a couple days.
Oh,
I like that. That's a new look for Deuce.
You've aged well on the show, Deuce. I got to say, now I get to see you on camera. You're going to the Paul, more mature Patriots writer.
A little scrubby, yeah. I know. I got a haircut today.
He's a good-looking dude.
Yeah, I imagine you had something else, Ken, because
fella.
you were on hold long before any of that other stuff took
Nobody
place.
holds that long just to ask Deuce a question.
Yeah. Anything else?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, I noticed Ted Karras has been our starting guard for the last couple of games.
Yep.
You think he's part of the best five with Wenyu kind of in the fifth locker, or do you think that's some kind of strategery by Bill?
Hard to say. I mean, I think Onwenu was good at right tackle when they put him in, but I think Teddy K. I was just impressed with him, and I think we were kind of hard on Teddy K when he had to fill in, in 2019, and saying he wasn't quite as athletic or whatever as David Andrews. But I just think that those guys work really well in sync together, and that's what stood out to me in rewatching that game from last week was just how Wynn, Karras, Andrews, and Mason, work together on a lot of those screen passes, getting out into space. A couple times, Andrews, I know that a couple of videos that made the rounds on the internet of him, blocking two guys on a screen pass. But Teddy K playing tough. I mean, I think it was Judon this week. They asked him about, and he brought up Teddy K, just his toughness and what he kind of brings to it. So it is a tough question because I think Onwenu's really promising, and he's a young guy, and he certainly has a future on the offensive line, and it kills you to not play him. But it's hard to say because Trent Brown looked so dominant last week, and that's a whole nother level of play if he can continue that. So I understand the dilemma a little bit, and I'm sure Onwenu's going to continue to get involved, but it is a little strange, to see Teddy K in there and Onwenu riding the pine.
All right, Ken, we appreciate it.
Hey, guys, I'll take it off air. We're getting closer to game time. You guys still feeling my 19-12 scoreline, or?
I think something in that. I said 20-10. I mean, I was in that kind of range of. I don't think it's an offensive explosion for the Patriots. I think there's going to be some struggles.
There'll be some weirdness to this game. I think there almost always is on Thursday nights.
All right. Yeah. There you go. Let's continue with the calls here. We'll go to Brandon, who is in Springfield. Brandon, you're on the Patriots pregame show, fueled by Dunkin. What's up, Brandon? Brandon in Springfield, Massachusetts. Not there. We'll go to Rob in Australia instead. Rob, hello. What's going on, buddy?
Evening, boys. How are you?
Really good.
Good day, mate. Hey,
every time.
I just had two things. I wanted to ask a question and just a comment. The question that I had for you guys, and this might be for Mike because it's a sneaky negative question. Watching the game last week, were they a bit off pace on first and second down? I mean, Hardy, you said the third down conversion is a big key to this game, but they had a lot of third and longs last week that they converted, which is great. But, did they have a lot of 1 yard, 2 yard runs on first and second down?
You're asking is maybe did they sneaky not run the ball as well as people think they did last week?
Yep.
I thought Stevenson was unbelievable in the game. I don't think they blasted holes open for him.
No. And I think they picked it up, too. I think it was a slow start
when
a little
the game
bit.
was over.
Yeah. then they kind of
bludgeoned him because they took the will away. Now,
but you got to talk about that first down,
right? And I think that's part of it. You take the will away from a team by the body blows. That's part of it. So you do that, so hopefully you have a lead in the second half, and they don't want to tackle anymore. And I know some people were talking about the safety for the Browns, John Johnson, the third. Looked like he was disinterested.
Yeah.
And he's a good player.
Yeah.
But I think it was, whatever it was at the time, 24, 31-7. You know what? I'm going to take a bad angle here. I heard Christian Fourier talking about that a little bit during the course of the week. I'm just going to get there a step late here. He's already going to be in the end zone. I'm not going to take that hit. And I think that's part of those body blows that they accumulate over the course of the game. But, yeah, you're right. They had a lot of third and longs early in the game.
Yep. That's a good nitpick.
All right.
And the comment that I had for you guys is I'm going to try and call you after the show, but if I don't, happy Thanksgiving to you guys back in the States, to you and your family.
I appreciate that, you too, but definitely call us post-game. We're going to need it.
Let's put another.
I don't know what day or time it is in Australia right now. It's probably like Monday. I don't even know.
It's springtime.
You all right, guy?
Right?
It's springtime in Australia.
Okay.
There you go.
That just blew your mind, huh?
It's upside down.
You knew that.
Yeah, if I thought about it, but I didn't think about it.
The toilet swirl goes the other way.
The other way. That I knew.
That's all nonsense.
What's that now?
It's nonsense.
Test it.
No, it truly is. It has more to do with what direction the water is coming from than anything else.
Oh, well, I'm glad we dispelled that.
All right.
Bloody potty is not a joke.
Let's try. I don't know how this is going to go. Spee in Fresno. Spee, you're on the Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin. Hello, Spee.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. How you guys doing?
Hey, Spee.
It's a little early for that.
Yeah.
I know. Mike, the good, great, grand thing. Yeah, it's Billy Madison, but
yeah, it's just ingrained in my head. I say it automatically, but I don't know where it came from. It's one of those
Billy
things.
Madison.
No, I know. That's why I had to
here,
ask.
Before you got onto the show, they used to always start off. Somebody would call in and just go, "Good, great, grand."
Fred would say good, Andy would say great, and I would say grand. And we're sophomore morons. What do you want us to do?
Yeah, well, it happened here on this show once, and you were like, good. And I'm like, oh, where did that come from? That's why I had to ask you. I just was instinct.
Cordero Patterson out for tonight, by the way.
Oh,
my God. It's going to be a bloodbath. You're going to have like 120 yards from rushing from the Patriots, and it's over. It's like when you're done, you go home. It's going to be out.
When you're done, you
go
home.
I had a Mac Jones thing. So, like I said it last week, you could probably categorize his amazing performance as a bit of an outlier, coming off what we were kind of calling somewhat plateau stuff. But I think I kind of stick by that. Good outlier games are probably more indicative of who a player is, especially a quarterback, than bad outlier games tend to be. But I can't help but waiting for the other shoe to drop still. And Hardy was just kind of saying this a little. I'm just waiting for Mac to have that rookie poops himself game. I don't know. Do you guys feel that way?
I don't know if it's a full on like it goes down his leg, because I think what the coach has been really good at is not allowing him to have one of those games. If it looks like maybe he doesn't have it in a certain game, maybe he only attempts 5 passes in the second half, like he did 2 weeks ago. Maybe they don't allow him to get himself into that trouble. Now, does that mean he can't throw 2 picks on his first 3 attempts in a game? To me, that would still qualify as speed. But I think they are, and protective makes it sound like he's not up to the task, and it's not a very complimentary word toward Mac. But for lack of a better one, I'll use it. I think the coaches are too protective of him to let him go out there and completely soil himself over the course of 60 minutes, like we've seen. We've seen it with Zach Wilson. We've seen it with other quarterbacks, and I don't think that's in the cards. The full meltdown game where he just doesn't have it, but he keeps chucking it anyway. I don't see that from an organizational standpoint, that going down like that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it just because I think it happens to every quarterback, and they get popped a couple times in the first possession, and even Brady, it happened with him. The clock gets messed up, and we saw it a few weeks ago with Mac, where even though they won, it wasn't all on time as it was last week. So I know I'm trying not to get too nervous that like can he continue that pace? Can he play that way? For the rest of the season. But I just overall have been impressed with him. If those games happen, it happens. I think he's shown the toughness and kind of the mental resolve to fight through it. I think the coaching staff's doing all they can. But again, I think tonight, short week, not a lot of preparation. Defense that's going to throw some curveballs at you. It's going to be interesting to see how he reacts to what Dean Pease and the defense throws at him. Who knows? Maybe he'll pick right up and just pick them apart. That would be great to see. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see him, at least early on, struggling to kind of find a rhythm and get into a groove like he did last week.
All right, Spee.
Very nice. All right.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Let's go to Tom in Tennessee on the Patriots pregame show. It's fueled by Dunkin. What's up, Tom?
Hey, guys. How you doing this evening?
Good.
Hey, Tom.
Good. Well, this is the first time I'm actually calling in, and it's crazy. I stumbled onto the PU podcast some time ago. I'm actually a Packer fan, and when all of the Brady fallout kind of hit, I was like, let's see what's going on in New England sports talk. So I stumbled onto you guys being the third best show, with PU.
That's right.
And just dude fell in love with the dynamic that you guys bring to the table. It's been really, really cool getting to know the different personalities. I mean, obviously Paul is like this angry uncle that we have, and
fair.
When you agree with him, it's like, yeah, get him, Paul. But when you don't agree with him, you want to come through the line and choke him. It's just awesome.
Yep.
It's
a
little violent.
Right. The question I had, first of all, I was going to say I think we're all pretty much in agreement that Bill's going to try to take away Pitts, whether it's they double him or put the number one corner on him, whether it's J.C. Jackson or whatever. I was thinking Cordero Patterson might be the second option there, as far as a threat with him being out. What do you guys think is the next threat as far as the Falcons offense?
Russell Gage? Maybe?
I don't know. Yeah, I it's a great question. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, they Kyle.
They got Mike Davis, who's kind of kicked around a little bit. He got 88. 3.3 yards per attempt. I mean, they can't run the ball, and they continue to try to run the ball on first down. They can't run the ball. They're not good on anything really. There's nothing you can look at and say, well, there's something cooking there. It's just.
Yeah, I think if they had Calvin Ridley, at 100% mentally and physically, to go with Kyle Pitts, and then you doing these things that you've done, most of the season with Cordero Patterson, I think they had the makings of having a decent offense. But Ridley has really not been there, and even when he has been there, obviously he wasn't there mentally. He's dealing with something pretty significant to, sort of force him to step away from the game. Now you have you just have a rookie tight end, and you have I think it's been a nice story what Cordero Patterson has done, but you're really looking at him at this stage of his career as being a difference maker. Like they're using him like he's Christian McCaffrey. Right? And he's pretty. I mean, he has 7 touchdowns. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but right. I mean, you look at the numbers and they're kind of pedestrian. I mean, 3.9 a carry. This is not the kind of stuff. He's done decent as a receiver. 12 yards a carry on 39. I mean, a catch on 39 catches. That's pretty good production there. But I just don't look at him as being the same kind of player. Patriots inactives are out, by the way.
Oh, good. Hey, Tom, thanks for the call. Don't be a stranger, buddy.
Let's see.
Yeah, thanks, Tom.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
We got Yasir Durant, J.J. Taylor, Devin Asiasi, Jarrett Stidham, and Ronnie Perkins. So no surprises whatsoever.
No, but Sean Wade getting his he's going to be active for the first time, I believe. And then Jonnu Smith back in the lineup after missing last week as well. But no major surprises. Obviously good to get Damian Harris back and our punt returner Gunner, right? I mean, he's a weapon.
Especially in a game like this where what's the problem,
Nothing.
Paul?
I have something with Mike.
Okay. Especially in a game like this where hopefully you're going to be forcing the Falcons into a bunch of punts. All right, let's get your punt returner back in, as they will tonight with Gunner, and see if he can. It doesn't have to be 3 punts of 20 or returns, I should say, of 20 or more yards, but a couple of them help. Give yourself some short fields here tonight and get up early. Yeah. This is something that we haven't talked about enough, I don't think, but the idea of this team having to play from behind. Now, technically, they did last week, as the Browns
For a drive,
marched
yeah.
down the field and
I was not
needed 4
confident
downs
there.
on the goal line to score. But once they did, and they were up 7-0, all right, technically you're playing from behind for all of one drive.
Right, but I do think that drive was significant because of what Mike wrote about earlier in the week, Hardy, and that is third and 8, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 13.
Yep.
You know, down 7-0 on your own, I think 17-yard line, 3rd and 8. You throw an incomplete pass there and punt it back, and then Cleveland maintains the momentum.
Yep. Could be
Now
even
maybe
if it's
maybe
only
it's
10-0.
Yeah, maybe it's a 2-score game heading to the second quarter, and everything is different.
Yes.
But to Mac's credit, he made all those throws on those 3rd downs. Now, I know one of them was a screen pass, but the 3rd and 8 that kicked the drive off to Hunter Henry was not a screen.
I just want to share with you, Paul. I thought it was interesting. Our guest, Kevin Knight, was saying that he didn't really think Calvin Ridley was really gelling in the offense, and that maybe
he was nothing this
they
year.
might move him in the offseason. I just thought that was kind of
I
interesting.
mean, I would take his word for it. I just look at this as a lost year
you
for
got
the guy
nothing.
for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I think he's dealing with for an NFL player to step away from the game to get himself right. I think that's not like, I don't really feel like playing.
Yeah.
That's a significant
Something
mental
going on.
situation to me.
Tough to
And
trade
with
him
all-
probably
yeah.
too after that.
Yeah, and I just think I would almost eliminate anything he's done on the field this year. And even then, 31 catches for 281 yards. Like, it's not like he did nothing.
Yeah.
That production's a little down for him because he's more of a downfield threat than that would indicate. But I don't know. I think that I think that he has to have been affected by whatever it is that's keeping him off the field.
We're going to do the over-unders, gentlemen, if you're ready to do them.
excellent.
Let's do them.
It's time for this week's edition of Over Unders.
You're over me? When were you under me?
I had an amazing week last week by Hardy standards. Just treading water, but for me, that's good. Matt, what happened last week, and what are the season totals?
All right, last week we have Hardy 3-3, Mike 2-4, Paul 1-5.
Oh,
wow!
Paul Perillo
And
feeling the heat.
And I do want to just add that an outstanding job done by Marine Corps Matt this week.
No errors?
No errors.
Nope.
On either side.
Can you believe it?
He sent it all to me on Tuesday. I was like, you got it. You got it. It's all good.
That's a real backhanded compliment. You didn't screw up, kid. Nice
I was
job.
very excited about it.
I was too.
Paul drew a smiley face on it and sent it back. Good job. Matt,
All right.
Put it on the fridge.
All right, that brings us to the season totals. Paul 32-28, Mike 27-33, Hardy 22-38.
Ugh. All right. Well, Paul is still pretty commanding lead here, but let's see if I guess technically I did gain ground even going 500 last week. All right, let's just do that again. I'd be fine with that.
Sure.
All right, let's start off. What do we have?
Mac Jones passing and rushing yards 260.5.
260. I think it's going to be a little grind for him. I'm going to go under on this one.
I'm going to go under as well. I've been riding the overs on him and haven't been able to convert, so I'm going to change up.
A lot of these
Under.
tonight are just for what I want to watch in this game. You need to hold my interest. And I hate rooting for the under is just such a loser thing to do. So I'm going to go over just so I can root for them to. I don't think he's going to get a ton of rushing yards, but combined, all right, good. That helps me. I'll go over.
Hunter Henry receiving yards 30.5.
I'm going to take the over on that. I think Hunter Henry is emerging as a pretty important part of the passing game. I think I took the over on him last week, and I believe that was my one win out of my 1-5 finish.
The latest Bill Simmons point he was making was about how Hunter Henry has become Mac Jones' security blanket, how he's the go-to guy. And, lest we incur the wrath of Bill Simmons, again, like we did on Zolak
He's known
and
for his
Bertrand.
cutting football inside, isn't
But,
he?
it was like, I'm not Mike Florio over here. I'm not, I'm not Paul Perillo. I'm not one of the guys who watches every second of every contest around the league. But I really don't see Hunter Henry as being his go-to guy yet. If anyone, that's probably Jacoby Myers. But even more to the point, I don't think he has a go-to guy yet.
Yeah, maybe in the red zone, the 7 touchdowns, maybe you could say he's he's the guy he looks at in the red zone. But I agree with you.
Right.
He's a 3 or 4 catch guy at most.
Anyway, I'm going over. I went over on Mac passing yards, so I'm going over on Hunter Henry receiving yards.
Yeah, I'm going to go under. I think maybe other guys have a little bit more production than him, but I'd like him to get at least another touchdown.
What's going to be Mac Jones' longest pass completion tonight? 35.5 yards.
Let's just stick with it. Let's have some fun. That's a big one, but all it takes is my man Brandon Bolden busting loose after getting the catch. He can pick up 35.5 from catching a pass out in the flat. Doesn't have to be some long downfield throw, right? We're talking.
You're on that Brandon Bolden.
We're
hype
just
train.
talking about. All right, hype.
Woo.
Tell me who's been a better, more consistent offensive weapon than Brandon Bolden. I'll hang up and listen to you agree with me off the air.
Kendrick Bourne, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Henry.
Consistent,
Damian
I
Harris,
said. Consistent, I said.
Andre
Damian Harris hasn't even played.
I'm going to go under on Mac.
You went over?
For the long one.
I went over.
35.5, you went over.
Yeah, I did, and I know you're going under.
I went under.
Yes, I am going under.
Dumb move.
Kyle
Probably.
Pitts receiving
I'm in a
yards.
slump.
Kyle Pitts receiving yards, 65.5.
Oh, deuce.
It's my key.
It's your
I
key.
hate to go 4 straight under, but I'm going 4 straight under. I think they take him out of the game.
I'm going to take the under as well. I'm a little worried about it because I really don't see any other person that Atlanta's going to be able to rely on here.
Right.
But I just have seen this. I've seen this play before.
Right. And he's got 1 catch for 4 yards.
And I just in solidarity with Deuce's key to the game, I will go under on this one too.
I appreciate that.
It's like you said, it makes me nervous because I don't think they have anything else to go to. But the Patriots also know he hasn't have anyone else to go to. So if they're going to take him, out of it, then you got to pick the under.
Yep.
Jawan Bentley tackles 4.5.
Paul Perillo.
Oh.
I will take the over on that. I think he will make 5 tackles at least.
Now,
thinking about it.
No, I'm trying to remember what he had last week.
6.
Yeah, let's go over.
Yeah, I'm going to go over too. I think he's a big part. He's going to get probably at least 6 or 7.
All right.
And the total score?
All 3 over?
All 3 over.
Yep.
Total score, 44.5.
I am up first on this one, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I think even with some of these score predictions that have the Falcons being the lowly Falcons, all they need is 13, 14 points to go with the 34 that the Patriots put up, and you're there. So I'll even factoring in everyone else's predictions for this game. Not everyone. I know there's a couple of stink bombs in there, 20-10 and whatnot, but I'm still going over.
I'm going to go under. I think it's going to be a little bit of a slog, and I think it's going to be around 30-35.
I am taking the under as well. I just don't see Atlanta putting up many points.
Could be a huge week for Hardy. A lot of blood. A lot of blood between me and Deuce on this one, especially. We are in opposition on, I think, 5 out of the 6 here. Whew. Wow. It's exciting.
Yeah, a lot of trash talk.
It's exciting. All right. Good stuff. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you. Get back to the phones here. 855-PATS-500. Emails, webradio@patriots.com. William, who's in Massachusetts. No, he's not. He's gone now. So let's go back to Australia.
They're all gone.
How is it that we they're all gone? How is it that we have better luck with our calls from Australia being on the line than we do with the guys who are
Australian more patient?
I think so. You're a patient people down there, aren't you,
Call in from
Jake?
the other side of the world. You're in it.
Yeah, I guess so. What's up, Jake?
Just here cleaning a pool for my job during the day. Good day, mate. Australia on Friday.
Nice. Any snakes?
No, not yet.
What is your job?
My question. I'm a pool technician.
I don't know what that means.
I fix people's swimming pools.
Oh, pool. I thought you said cool technician. I'm like, oh, is that like an adorable Australian way of saying air conditioning? Oh, no, a pool tech. Okay. All right, gotcha.
An adorable Australian.
Well, All right, a pool tech. All right, Jake.
Wondering, do you guys reckon Mac will go for another 3 this week?
Wow. I think he can.
Yeah.
I think if the game is in hand, they probably won't do as much. Short week. Don't need to do anything else. Don't need to tip your hand for what's to come for later on in the season. If they can get away with running the ball, I think they're more likely to do that down inside the red zone if they get a comfortable lead against the Falcons tonight. But it's possible.
It's interesting. They won't run it up tonight the way they have been because it's maybe a short week and
they're
tired.
Yeah, and at what point?
Too tired to run it up.
Yeah, seriously, Jake. At what point, if you were coaching this team and you're thinking like, all right, we got another win in the bag tonight, we're going to move to 7-4 in the season, we can start thinking about the playoffs. Do you at any point during this game or in the upcoming games, if you get up, start thinking, you know what, let's not give tape to anybody else on things that we can do. Let's save some of this stuff for a team like Tennessee next week.
Yeah, I think I could see something like that. But
this is very true.
I think. I don't know. It's possible. All right, well, good luck with all the filters and the chlorine and whatnot, Jake.
Don't sniff too many of those chemicals.
Yeah. I think
I bet he deals with Crocs a lot, right? Like, I mean, there's Crocs in the pool. They're probably calling him up, like, Croc in the pool, get out here.
I would ask him, but it sounds like he's
I don't want him to
telescoping a skimmer right now. I don't know what that sound was. It was driving me nuts, though. All right. Thank you. That's excellent. Let's talk a little bit more about this whole idea, unless we have to break. I don't think we have to. No? Okay. About this loss to a team that you shouldn't lose to, okay?
Okay.
We've seen it with the Rams. We've seen it with, the quote-unquote good teams. We've seen it with Arizona. All right. What's the problem?
I would use teams like Tennessee losing to the Jets. I would use Dallas losing to Denver.
Cardinals losing to the Panthers?
Yeah, but without their quarterback, you can lose to anybody without your players.
All right.
I would use there was another one. Oh, the Bills losing to Jacksonville.
Absolutely.
As a poster child for that. Otherwise, like the Rams.
Should the Bucs have lost to the Washington football team?
Bucs losing to Washington, good one. Yeah, we've seen a lot of them lately too.
Titans to the Jets.
Baltimore losing to Miami. I think. Yeah, I led with that.
Sorry.
Thanks for listening,
I'm
Fred.
not listening.
Wow.
The Rams have been struggling a little bit the last 2 weeks, but I don't know if I would put losing a division game to the Niners on the road in that's the game that they shouldn't lose kind of category. But they've been struggling because they got manhandled two weeks in a row by Tennessee and then by San Francisco. I would put the Patriots, Miami in that category, but not. I don't think it's anywhere near as egregious as the others that we mentioned for the reason that Hardy said. It's week one. The Patriots weren't the Patriots yet.
Yep.
And that's why, I agree with Rob. In terms of you don't want to pencil in wins for the Patriots.
So off-putting.
Because like a month ago we were talking about this team in a whole different light, but that's things change. Things change in a month, and it's the same with the numbers, and that's why I completely ignore all the percentages that you see. The football power index that ESPN uses that generates all these numbers for like and they're all like ridiculously accurate, like stat-based 538s and all this stuff with was it Nate Silver?
Yep.
Right? And they obviously put a lot of work in it, but it's based on numbers accumulated over an entire season. And as an example, the Patriots' run defense is average. The Patriots' run defense hasn't been average the last few weeks. It's been much better than that. Offensively, the Patriots over the last month in this 4-game winning streak have been as productive as anybody in the league. Mm-hmm. Overall, their numbers are somewhat pedestrian. So these percentages of you win this and your playoff percentage goes here is based on what everybody's done all year. Right now, the Patriots are red hot. I'd be stunned tonight if they didn't come out and play reasonably well.
Yeah.
Like if they just laid an egg, I would find that stunning.
Yeah, I think there's also a bigger thing going on, which is just the parity overall in the league. The away teams winning more games than the home teams now, where it's like this talk of, is there still home field advantage? I think that there's a little bit of a weirdness to the NFL. I don't know if it's this year, if it's here to stay, but there just seems to be a lot more unpredictability.
Yes,
with the league in general, and I think that's why people like the Patriots, because you feel like over the last 4 weeks they've followed a path that we've seen them follow before where and I'm seeing, Tommy Curran just tweet out high floor for this team. And I think that that's what they are. They think, any team that plays the Patriots, I mean, they've given everybody a problem. Every team that has had to, pull it out or, even when Dallas is going up and down the field and putting, more yardage up, then it still goes to overtime,
Right.
So it's just, and I know that there's all kinds of nuance to every game and all that, but I think when you just look at the big picture, there's just a lot of weird parity going on. And I don't know if it's this year or if it's just the NFL recalibrating. I think you got so comfortable. I mean, we certainly did with the Patriots and Brady and, Manning and, just what basically, I don't know, a decade and a half, it was all kind of the power structure was just always kind of intact. And there were some teams that would, maybe this year they're up, but generally you knew who the good teams were and who the bad teams were. And upsets weren't as, like, they haven't been happening this year. And it's just like, you rattle off, like, how do the Bills lose to Jacksonville? How do the Jets beat? It doesn't make any sense. But I think the Patriots are one thing that so far seems like they do make sense.
So this fear of the Patriots, having this loss looming to a team they shouldn't lose to, is only a fear if you accept the Patriots as a quote unquote good team.
I do accept them as a good team.
Okay, because you can easily talk yourself off this ledge and not be afraid anymore if you only think of them like, what do you think of the Colts right now?
I think they're a middling team.
I think they're a middling team, and
they're capable of being good.
I think I brought this up like last week, and I said something about like maybe a win at the Colts, and I don't know if it's you guys or if it was Owen Beatles said, no, the Colts are a good team. I'm like, I'm not convinced they are.
They got some pieces.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
The Colts.
But this is my comp,
Yep,
right? The Colts do not have that loss to a team that they should have beat, right?
They just kind of lose to teams that...
Well,
their losses are...
It depends on how you look at it. They lost to Seattle.
Yeah, but it was week one, and I don't know that they should beat Seattle in week one. If we're going to give the Patriots a little wiggle room in week one, I think I'll give the Colts some too. They lost to the Rams. They lost at the Titans, at the Ravens. I don't know about that one, but
tough schedule.
Another loss to the Titans.
See, that's the thing. They've had a really tough schedule, and that's why they're 5-5. But I can't call them a good team because they didn't beat any of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, the Patriots have had a much easier schedule, but they were able to go out and win in L.A. They were able to take care of business at home against Cleveland. Like, the best Indianapolis win is probably San Francisco. In the rain.
Torrential downstorm.
And look, they had the Ravens dead to rights. There's no way they should have lost that game with a 16-point lead late in the game, and they blow it. But they needed to find a way to win some of those games. And I get it. Seattle, the Rams, Tennessee twice. They had Tennessee beat the second time, too. They found a way to lose all of those games. And I think they're probably ultimately going to find themselves outside looking in when the playoffs come. But I do think it's a decent team. Like, if the Patriots lost to Indianapolis, which that, like, in 3 weeks or so, I wouldn't consider that a terrible loss.
No. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, I just
let me know what they do over the next couple of weeks.
Well,
and I know that's like
they play in
cop-out.
They play in Buffalo this week.
Too.
The Colts have to play the Bucs?
Colts got to play the Bucs in 2 weeks.
Their schedule is a monster.
The Bills, the Bucs, the Texans, and then the Patriots.
So they could easily be, a game below 500 when they play the Patriots.
How do you feel about that Chargers win?
It's the best win the Patriots have.
I agree. It still is. Does their loss to Minnesota at home, their loss to Minnesota at home last week, take away anything from the Patriots?
But all like
accomplishment.
For the same reason why you don't think the Patriots loss to Miami was bad, I don't make the Patriots win over the Chargers worse because when they played the Chargers were playing well.
Gotcha. I'm with you. Okay. All right.
Although they were coming off a bad loss. They got blistered by Baltimore in the
absolutely.
previous game.
It was like 31-6 or something like that. Yeah.
I don't think the Chargers are quite ready.
34-6.
First-year coach, I think he's finding his way. I don't think they're quite ready.
All right.
Good to see Gunner back out there. Looks like he's working with Joe Houston, kind of getting an idea how to pick up the punts over the
He needs to put
dome.
his uniform on.
Showing off them abs.
He doesn't have much uniform there.
Well, he'll get some more.
Abs.
They missed him last week.
They did. I think he's He's really turning into giving them some electric returns. I mean, I hold my breath every time he returns. It's just because I'm worried.
I think he's going to fumble every time.
Either fumble or
he's
get a
fumbled
concussion.
like 3 times this year. He hasn't lost any of them.
Yeah.
Did I see Chase Winovich out there in
Yes.
nothing resembling a uniform?
He should be.
He's dressed though.
He is dressed.
Yeah. He's
Okay.
not. Well, he's not inactive.
Yeah, he should probably kind of just take over the Uche third down role.
Okay, all right, that's fine. By the way, Chase does not look like a big guy. Watching him on the TV set here.
On the TV?
Oh yeah, you see him in person though.
He's a big dude.
Yeah,
that Chase Winovich, and a really nice dog. No dog talk. All right, let's go to Alex in Somerset here, watching the playoffs or the warm-ups. We're watching the warm-ups.
Do you want to pause and watch Nick Folk kick some warm-up
Folk,
kicks, or?
everybody.
But it was lost on a lot of people that he was injured last week, and talking about Nick Folk and how he looked, which he was, fine for the most part. But is he still dealing with it?
He's not hurt. Bailey's hurt.
Oh, Bailey, that's right. Bailey's hurt. Well, they're both.
He had to step in and kick off. I'm surprised you didn't mention that in your goods last week.
You know what?
He kicked off once.
I can't watch everything, okay?
That is true.
Sometimes I got to eat half of a donut left over from the pregame, and I got to do that while the game's going on. Alex, sorry to keep you waiting. What's up, buddy?
No problem. What's going on, guys?
Hey, Alex.
So, you guys are talking about emotions of wins and losses, and I got a hypothetical. So, let's say earlier in the season, we decided to win that game against the Cowboys and then followed it up with a loss against Houston.
They decided to lose.
That?
Yeah.
Or would you have? What do you think was best for the team in that scenario?
No, I would rather have the win over Houston than Dallas because it's a conference win.
Yeah, AFC.
Yep.
Okay, I understand.
But I understand your point. Like you would have a marquee win under your belt, and that might have been more for the team's confidence. But I think in terms of the playoffs and everything, I think those conference wins that they've already built up, I think will help.
Yeah.
That Dallas game stung for a number of reasons. The number of Dallas fans in the stadium that night,
and just how
they never sat down.
It was just a lost opportunity. You remember, I was pissed after that game because I think Dallas did everything they could to lose the game, and you didn't take it.
Yeah. Jamie in Omaha, Nebraska. That is my wife's hometown. What's up, Jamie?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Hey, Jamie.
Hey, so I need to access Paulopedia real quick here because you guys are talking about like trap games, and in my memory, I can't think of a time when we've really went into a game and I guess had that sort of we're going to win this and not really try and look ahead to the next week necessarily. I guess, which is to me what those trap games normally are. I can see it because it's a short week, but is there a game that you can remember that you're like, yeah, no, we've definitely looked ahead and lost these games because of this?
I think the Houston game, well, they didn't lose it, but I think the Houston game this year is probably in the conversation.
And that is part of the conversation.
That was sandwiched around the Tampa Bay and Dallas games, was it not?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jamie, that gets back to the conversation of the definition of the trap. Just because you win, does that mean it wasn't a trap game? No, it can still be you can win a trap game.
You can win a trap game in my mind.
Yes, in my mind too. But
it elicited more conversation today on Felger
a trap
and Maz
game has never been won.
And I thought Mike and Tony put it perfectly. Like that sort of got into the lexicon from Bill Parcells, who used to go around the locker room and set mouse traps.
Would they actually
before those kinds of games?
Would they actually be set?
I don't know. I wasn't in the locker room
because that could be dangerous.
You're going to injure a play out with the toe.
Imagine if your quarterback stepped in one accident and he can't play.
Doesn't even look at
Jamie, go have a Runza or hit up Big Fred's Pizza for me, would you please?
Will do.
All right, thanks, buddy.
He's right on that.
Yeah,
Omaha.
You knew.
Omaha.
It's one of the best sporting experiences of my life was going to a Nebraska home game.
I bet.
Homecoming. The people are so absurdly nice.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh.
I drove through Omaha. And I stayed there, I think, overnight.
I drove through. I did stay overnight there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Mingling with these country folk.
Yeah.
Felt good.
Country folk. Farmer's daughter, what? Oh, very good. Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. Here's what I want to talk about this trap game, though. Honestly. The idea that a trap game still exists in any meaningful way, okay? And I'm not talking about a win or a loss. I'm talking about oh, we somehow looked past this team. Like, how is it even possible anymore?
In a professional sport, you mean just like
I just mean in 2021, when the NFL has never gotten more coverage, in more places, people writing thousands of articles every week, thousands of podcasts taking place, shows like this one, shows on the radio, shows on television, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, analyzing in minutia every aspect of every game. Anything that could be a potential trap game has a spotlight put on it and shown then that it is a trap game. So the only way it could still be a trap game is if there was something that nobody saw ahead of time, because it's going to be out there about it being a trap.
No, but I mean, in the end, the game is still played by humans, and it's just it's human nature. Like, not all trap games prove to be trap games. Most of the time, the better team does what it's supposed to do, shows up, and takes care of business. But you can't tell me all of those upsets that we talked about didn't have elements of trap game in them. You know, you can't tell me that Baltimore didn't go to Miami last week saying, yeah, I know Miami is not as bad as 2-7, but we're Baltimore, and we're going to roll this team.
Okay.
Hey. You can't tell me that Tennessee went to the Jets and said, yeah, this. I know the kid's only making his third start, but look at how bad he was in the first two. He ain't ready, and then he lit him up.
Yeah. I mean, is it even it doesn't even have to be a trap game. Can it just be when you play a crappy team, you play down to their level? Like, trap game kind of implies that, there's something bigger going on.
It's not
within
always
the whole,
a trap just because
of,
it's an upset. I agree with you. But I'm saying there are elements at play this particular game for the Patriots that are trap-like.
Yeah.
Because they had such a big game last week, because they've been told in a short week in so many different ways how great they are. I hear every guy, and I got, we weren't in work today like normal, so I'm sitting home listening to a lot of the talking heads on ESPN, and one after another is telling you why the Buffalo Bills are in trouble and why Kansas City hasn't fixed anything and why Tennessee has been very impressive, but they're still not believing without Derrick Henry. But the Patriots, based off of their win against Cleveland, we've seen this before. When have you seen it before? Like, Tom Brady's not here.
Right.
Yeah.
So you haven't seen this before. This is all new. Yeah. This is all new. They're being anointed. And if they're not ready to handle that, that can be a problem.
Right.
And that's been going on all week long.
And I understand
they've been done nothing. There was a tweet that I was joking with Mike about earlier. Jonnu Smith and Damian Harris are back in the lineup. Good luck. Oh, really? You got a running back who's averaging 4 yards a carry and a tight end who largely has been irrelevant in the 9 games that he played. And now all of a sudden it's like, the Patriots, you have to stop that offense? Good luck. Okay, why? Because we played offense like a high-powered team last week? What about the other 9 games?
Yeah.
They basically have 2 offensive explosions that are carrying their numbers for the season.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
They scored 54 and 45 in 2 of the last 4 games. Now, I would say that's what they're developing into. They're developing an offense to go with the defense. They're trending in the right direction offensively. But over the other 8 games,
right?
Yeah, but to say
good luck.
But to say that they've arrived and that they're going to stay there, I have to see it. It's a process. And I feel like it's unfair to them to just be like, well, now you guys have to be awesome all the time. It's still a rookie quarterback, and there's a lot still to go. And I think the caller who pointed out some of the early down run stuff, there's ways to get better, getting Harris back out there. But I agree what Paul was saying.
All right. We're watching the warm-ups here on the Patriots Pregame Show, which is fueled by Dunkin.
There's Mondre.
Oh.
We're dropping the raw.
Oh, are we?
Mondre. Yeah.
I don't know. I heard them talking about that in the radio.
I was not memoed on that.
I don't know if that's
his way into the end zone.
But I loved him last week, and we talked about it in the post game. I thought he gave an element that
finishes.
maybe
he finishes his
that
runs.
Maybe Harrison, this Damian Harris tonight, will get him back in the lineup too. So should have that 1-2 punch back tonight in the running game.
The Jonnu Smith thing I get, Paul, because I think he has been largely Underwhelming. Perfect word. Thank you.
He hasn't been a disaster, but he's been underwhelming.
Damian Harris, even though the numbers may not back it up.
He's been good.
I think he's been really good, and I think he impacts the game tonight. And the fact that he is back makes
like
me
he's
like
ready.
the Patriots' chances.
But my
even
point
more.
is, if he's back and he plays great, he does what Stevenson did last week.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But just put
Fair
them
enough.
together. Let them work off each other. And I'm sure Damian Harris is probably motivated by what Stevenson did.
But I thought it was interesting that Bill was quick to point out that Stevenson did a great job replacing
it's still
Harris.
Well,
It was almost like
job.
telling both guys, I haven't forgotten about you, and you don't think that you've surpassed him.
Yeah, and you're going to need both of them. So that's what the positive element of it was. Just, how hard Stevenson ran. The ball security has been on point, since he's got his chance here. And I just think
good-looking guy.
Can he get into the can he be part of the rotation now? Can he earn a spot where it's all right, like it was with Burkhead and Sony when they were kind of the 1-2 punch? You get Sony early on, then they kind of switch it up a little bit. I'd love to see that just be a rotation because early in the season when they couldn't go with Stevenson, I felt like man, they are going to run Damian Harris into the ground if they don't get some kind of complimentary back. And I hope that's what Stevenson showed last week and that can elevate his role.
I guess I just feel better about Damian Harris being back because I have more faith in him putting together a performance tonight of that caliber more so than I do Stevenson repeating what he did last week.
Yeah, especially on a short week. And,
the more guys you have back, the better. I just don't look at it as like, if I'm Atlanta, I'm like, oh man, now I got to deal with them.
Yeah.
I
know what you're saying. Christian out in L.A. We'll get to you next, and Tony in Canada. Both of you coming up here. We still got to do our six-pack for the week, so that's on the way. All happening here on the Patriots pregame show, which is fueled by Dunkin. By the way, Patriots fans, it's always game on with Dunkin, so kick off the action with the official coffee of the New England Patriots. That's what we're doing tonight. This is a late-night coffee for me. I generally do not drink anything like this past, I would say, 4 p.m., but we got a late one tonight, so this is part of my game day ritual. I'm not changing it up. We all know the best call for football is Dunkin. America runs on Dunkin.
TouchView Interactive is here to support your hybrid learning, distance learning, and video conferencing needs with easy-to-use tools that allow end users to collaborate, interact, and present seamlessly. TouchView Interactive offers a comprehensive line of accessories and software to support your audio-visual needs. Outfit your classrooms and presentation spaces with the future of interactive display technology. Visit touchview.com for more info. Offered by the Oakers Company, celebrating 100 years of service and support.
That looks awful. Football's back and it's time to go big. Pepsi pulled pork sandwiches are game day greatness. Now we're ready for game day. Check out some more awesome recipes on madeforpatriotswatching.com.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
Meanest thing you've said to me in months, and you've said horribly mean things.
About an argument.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
We're back. Patriots pregame show. It's fueled by Dunkin. So we are doing a full six-pack here in a little while, right, Matt? Okay, good. All right, so we have that on the way. We have your emails, which I'm compiling them, getting them together here. Matt LePan's helping me with that, so we'll get to all those. But first, we got to go to Christian, who is in Los Angeles. Christian, you're on the Patriots pregame show. What's up, Christian?
Hey, you guys. Good to talk to you again.
Hey, Christian.
So here's my quick question, and I want you guys to get into it. Who do you guys think is the one player on both offense and defense for us that if they played exceptional tonight could be the key to a dominant victory? The one guy, the X factor on offense and the X factor on defense for us, whom, if they played exceptional, could be the key to a dominant victory. I'll take it off the air. Good to talk to you guys.
A couple different ways to go. I'm just gonna stick with my key and go with Adrian Peterson on Kyle Pitts. I think if Adrian Phillips. Jeez,
I was gonna go J.C. Jackson for that reason.
Or that's a good call too. I think. But yeah, either way, I think anybody who can take him out of the game, that
and Mac
would be
Jones.
key.
I'm not going to overthink it.
I was going to say Damian Harris too. Just if he gets going and he gets loose and is able to just take some pressure off of the passing offense and let open up the run and not have to worry about dealing with Mac Decipher and everything. It's just, hey, we're going to line up and pound it.
Well, I may overthink it on the defensive side. I won't offensively. I'll say Mac Jones, but I'll say Matthew Judon instead of.
I was thinking him too. If he's all up in Matt Ryan's grill,
you won't even have to worry about J.C. Jackson or anyone else downfield. If Judon's there ruining Matt Ryan's day from the first snap, that's enough for me.
Yeah,
I love that guy. I'm
Judon
developing a serious football fan crush on that guy.
We talked about him a lot this week. I wrote about when he talked on I think it was Thursday, just rattling off all the different activities that his different teammates do, that he tries to go and do a bike with Matthew Slater or take an Epsom salt bath with McCourty or going in the sauna with the other guys. I mean, it's just he's done a really good job. I mean, on the field, obvious the red sleeves. I mean, that was like the start of it. He's been all over quarterbacks since the preseason, and just the unexpected. I don't know. I mean, like when these guys come in, you kind of expect serious football guys. Like nothing wrong with that. And I think when you get a guy like Judon, who just has like this unique kind of sense of humor, it takes you off guard a little bit, and it's just enjoyable every time he talks because it's going to be fun. He's going to have something interesting to say, and it's always a good time when Judon talks.
I won't say he had me at the red sleeves, but what that did was allow me to watch him and identify him on the field. Okay, so I always know it's him. Yeah. And am I noticing him more because of the red sleeves? Probably. I'm a bit of a simpleton,
right?
But the fact is, the guy disrupts so many plays in a handful of ways to where I think if he's got a really good game tonight, it doesn't seal up victory for you, but it certainly makes things easier for Mac Jones and the offense to where they don't have to go out there and necessarily put up 33 points tonight. They might be able to put up 23 and win this thing handily if Judon has a really, really good game.
Yeah, and that's part of the point I made earlier of just if the defense comes out and just dominates and, you can just see that energy coming off the field where they're reestablishing the line of scrimmage and just beating up the Atlanta offensive linemen. It's going to be a long night for the Falcons.
Quite an elaborate little pregame celebration for the receivers. Usually fall for that sort of stuff there, Deuce. I'm surprised you didn't comment.
I was trying to make a point.
What was your commentary on Bill Belichick's jacket tonight? Did you see this on Twitter, Paul? This was classic Deuce.
Yeah. No, well, it's just people see he's wearing this puffy jacket again, and everyone's and the guy who runs the old blog that I ran was like, oh, imagine Deuce is scrambling right now to figure out what happens if Belichick wears this jacket in the game. And I just said, I don't do jackets. It's just hoodies. If he wears a jacket,
he's above that.
All bets are off. I don't do jackets.
Here's me.
Although that one might have to make an appearance if he does. But it's indoors. He's going to pop a hoodie on. He's going to wear the red hot jacket with the red shoulders. He's wore it every game except Tampa this year.
A lot of people talking about that Trent Brown story that we discussed earlier in the week here.
Where he almost died?
No. Him having 90 kids from Westover High School, which is his high school football team from Albany, Georgia. He brought them all there as part of his TB77 Cares Foundation. So that's a cool story with Trent Brown.
I was mentioning, I guess when he got they poked him with a syringe and they almost got air bubbles in his blood or something. He said he almost died, when he was with the Raiders, and took him almost a year to feel normal again. But again, I couldn't believe the job he did.
What the hell is the matter with you?
that wasn't appropriate.
The job he did last week, it's just he was just caving in. I mean, Brian Baldinger did a whole breakdown of him, and I was like, how did this not jump out to me when I was watching the game live? He was crushing guys in the run game, and if he can play like that, it's a game changer on that side of the line.
Another feel-good story involving a football player named Brown, Antonio Brown. The report is he acquired a fake COVID-19 vaccine card. So if any of you finger waggers and essentially people like me, if you love to say I told you so, this is a feel-good story for you because I love to say I told you so. And I told you this.
Antonio Brown.
This was a bad guy. Antonio Brown he was a bad guy from the jump. And I recognize his exceptional football talent. Of course. He's a bad guy. I didn't want him here. I didn't think he wanted to play football, so I was wrong about that. He just didn't want to play for the Steelers or the Raiders. He wanted to play for the Pats Actually, not so much, because he couldn't keep his hands off his phone and texting people who were accusing him of things. And now he's gone so far to allegedly fake a vaccine card and also stiff another personal chef on some money. This time it wasn't over miscommunication about a fish head left in a freezer. This is him just being a bad guy. Yeah. Once again, with the vaccine, we get it. There's a lot of people who don't want to take it. If you come out and say, I'm not going to take it, then you're going to catch a fair amount of flack for it, Aaron Rodgers. Don't lie about it. Yeah. You shouldn't lie about most things in life.
Right, but
this is one of these things you shouldn't lie about. But at least
with Aaron Rodgers, he lied to the people. He didn't lie to the team or the league.
Right.
Like this, to me, I don't know what – it's illegal. I would think that this is going to be something to fabricate a vaccination card is illegal.
This is serious stuff.
This is, I know a lot of people at the time, well, Aaron Rodgers got a slap on the wrist. This is way worse. If it's true, this is way worse than what Aaron Rodgers did.
Tampa Bay Times reporting that according to Steven Ruiz, who is a former personal chef for Antonio Brown, Brown had his girlfriend reach out to the chef over the summer to get a fake vaccination card. He was offering up $500 whole for a fake card. The chef said, no, I can't get that for you. But then, a couple of weeks later, Brown showed up and said, look, I got a fake card anyway, and I got one for my girlfriend. And what do you think of that? Like this guy.
This guy.
Bad guy.
He's a bad guy.
Bad guy.
Not good, Bob.
That was the only thing I didn't want to see when the Pats played the Bucs. I just didn't want to see Antonio Brown go off.
You know, exactly.
I could handle anything but that.
Right. Tony in Canada on the Patriots Pregame Show.
Feels good, yeah.
What's up, Tony?
Hey, Sean Wade.
Don't confuse Tony,
please. How you guys
please.
doing tonight?
Hey, Tony.
Doing great.
Good. What's up, buddy?
What's going on?
I was going to call in and talk about the Patriots' chances of making the playoffs this year, but when I heard that about Antonio Brown, I was shocked. You know what would have surprised, though, was that not only does he do things which I guess are illegal, but he's cheap, too.
Yeah,
he only offered
absolutely, Tony. He wants everything, but he just doesn't want to pay for anything.
That's
absolutely. He's a millionaire. He couldn't come up with more than $500. I could probably have done that for myself. I could have put up $500 for one of those cards. So I can't believe that.
Seriously,
but anyway.
like stiffing the movers. You know, the actual assault that I believe he pled guilty
stuff
on.
Out the window and stuff.
I don't want to. You know, people get all upset when it's like, oh, you didn't actually give. I believe he pled guilty on the assault of the moving truck driver. He threw all the stuff over the balcony of the condo that he was renting. So yeah, he is both cheap and. And a bad guy. He's just a bad guy. This Antonio Brown and all the Tom Brady guru stuff in the world cannot fix Antonio Brown. So again, I'd love to say I told you so, and I did.
Yeah, well, you know, he deserves it, but that's fine. You know what? I was going to talk about again. I'm looking at the playoff chances for the Patriots, and I'm thinking they've got that game against the Dolphins at the end of the year. That's in Miami. We know that's a tough one. Then they've got the Bills with a doubleheader. You know, depending on if the Bills get hot, because they've got such a good team that it's possible we could lose both of those games, and then we got the Titans.
And the Colts.
So
yeah, you got some tough games coming. The schedule's been pretty light so far. You had Tampa, you had Dallas, you had the Chargers. You know, I would say Cleveland, but
you took care of business.
You had the Jets twice. You had Houston. You had the Saints. You had Miami. You had some softer games.
Tony, and thanks for the call, buddy. I think your point is this. You took care of business in a couple of those tough games. You lost a couple more. If you do that down the stretch with these other games,
you'll be fine.
You'll be fine?
If you split the tough games?
You got to win tonight.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying if you split the tough games and you beat Jacksonville, you beat Atlanta, you beat Miami, you split against Buffalo, Tennessee, and Indy.
You just can't have that one loss to a team you shouldn't lose to.
Well, as long as you beat someone that you don't think you should beat, you'd be fine.
Cross it out.
All right. Well, okay, then that's where the split
like
comes
Buffalo
in.
has a loss to a team you shouldn't lose to. Were they done?
Heck yeah. But no, they're not done.
I mean, everybody else. I mean, most people think that Buffalo's pretty good. I know Bill Simmons thinks that they suck.
Oh, Bill.
I don't want to get on
this I mean, I think that's what's – and you talk about trap games, but it's just get this game and then the next 4 games. That's really going to determine kind of everything, where you stack up in the AFC, what your start in the division is. Do you have any chance at maybe the bye, you know, even if you want to get crazy? But those next 4 games, I mean, it's a Monday nighter in Buffalo. I mean, talk about the hype train for that. You get to see the Titans, who right now are atop the AFC. So, you're going to end up where you deserve. And I think that's, all you can really ask for is it's not like, we got to beat guys and hope. You're going to play the direct competition that the teams that you're playing for the exact spots in your division, in your conference. And those next 4 games are huge. It's just, get through tonight. Don't get injured. Just get in, get a win, get out. Don't get injured.
Injured.
Silly.
That's for other teams, Mike.
I'm just thinking back. My favorite part of the show so far is when I actually took credit twice for being right on calling Antonio Brown a bad guy. Like I was the only one who said it.
Right. Yeah.
I told you.
You got that one right.
Yeah. You know what? That Hardy guy, he was the only one who said that.
I do love those.
Phenomenal judge of character.
I've been saying it all along. Patriots. They're good.
Yeah, right. I don't know if I thanked Bose yet. I'm going to thank him again, though, because I love Bose so much. They're proud to be the official sound and official headphones of the New England Patriots and the NFL. Bose Quiet Comfort Earbuds. Rule the quiet. Learn more at Bose.com.
That looks awful. Football's back, and it's time to go big. Pepsi pulled pork sandwiches are game day greatness. Now we're ready for game day. Check out some more awesome recipes on madeforpatriotswatching.com.
An active lifestyle means you never stop moving. That's why only Theragun devices are designed to release your body's deepest muscle tension, so you can do the things you love. Land that pose, hit that final rep, taste success, and do it all over again. You only have one body. Make it a TheraBody.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
Where you been, kid? We're waiting for you.
Just had to run to the potty.
Oh.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
I believe they call that off the top rope.
Yes.
A phrase from
I
new
like
profession there. Back to the Patriots pregame show fueled by Dunkin. Let's get to a couple of emails here, and then we'll take care of our six-pack. Huh?
Yeah. Nice bomb there from Mac to Aguilar here in Warmups. Oh, there we go. Looks like he's on.
Sign of things to come for tonight's contest in Atlanta. Do we have any word on what the Oculus is doing tonight? What are they doing with the Oculus there in the stadium? The opening in the roof?
Oh.
They can open it to varying degrees?
I don't know. I hope they told Bill, though, because last time they were there and they were explaining, like, when it opens and closes, he wasn't too happy with all that.
Checkers. Playing checkers.
Open at 3/4.
Now I'm playing chess.
Hello, fellas. Is there a future for N'Keal Harry in New England? Kind of feel bad for the guy. And I really think the Patriots are doing anything and everything to keep him relevant somehow, even though it's blocking. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think he's contributing right now, and you know, it's in an unconventional way, but I think that they're finding a way to use him and his size and his clear desire to block. I mean, he blocks with fervor.
Is there such thing or a role for a
blocking wide receiver?
A blocking wide receiver. We talked about it on the air today. I'm like, I've never heard that phrase.
We've been doing it all week.
Last week.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Because people are just dying for it not to be a bust of a first-round pick. He provides nothing that a traffic cone couldn't provide. He can't get open. He doesn't make plays in the passing game, and he won't be here much longer.
Can they try him at tight end? And I know they have tight ends right
last
now.
Week, basically. He
blocks. That's kind of what he's doing. I mean,
every play he's on the field, they run.
Crack blocks.
Everyone
running behind him.
And it wasn't my idea, but I liked the idea when I heard it last year. It's like, no, idiot. He's a wide receiver. You can't just switch to tight end. Like, why not?
See, but people think that he's a great blocker for a wide receiver. He played tight end last week. Is all he did. He replaced Jonnu Smith.
Right.
That's all he did. Like, people want to move him to tight end because they think that will create matchup problems. He could be a move tight end. He can't move. So he doesn't have the move part. Like, he doesn't get open. Every once in a while, he makes a catch, and everybody says, "Is this the time? Did it just happen? Is that it? Is this the start of him being a weapon in the past?" No. They don't really even throw the ball when he's on the field. We say this all the time. Watch what Bill does. Don't listen to what people say. Watch what Bill does.
Watch what he does.
When he's on the field, 95% of the time it's a run play. Yeah. He's a big physical guy, and he blocks.
Just real quick.
What?
Evan Lazar. It looks like the same line as last week with Brown at right tackle, Karras at left guard, etc. Mike Onwenu was taking reps at right tackle.
You
so
interrupted me for offensive line.
Sorry, my bad.
No,
what are you, Paul?
Cool story, Hansel.
Oh, don't you dare!
Paulie in the truck called about offensive line today too. No, I think it is important just to. All right, seemed to work last week. Let's try that again.
Keep it rolling, Bob.
Yeah, why not? And
I think they feel like they're going to need Onwenu at tackle, so they don't want to start moving him back and forth. They had him at guard, then they moved him out to tackle. They don't want to move him back to guard in case they need him to play tackle, I think.
Okay. The Oculus is closed.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
The Oculus.
I thought that was you talking like ocular. That was
what's popular in your ocular.
I thought that's what you're getting at.
What do you got your peepers peeled for tonight? David says, "Here we go, boys. Hope the Pats can get a 7th straight win tonight." And Hardy, you're right. Grown Ups is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Happy Gilmore's a
I've
classic,
seen
though.
way worse movies than that.
I don't know.
Unfortunately,
I mean, I've seen worse, but for a movie that is thought to be by many as being good or acceptable, I don't know if I've seen a worse one than that.
Okay, then I'm with you. I didn't realize that people. I just thought it was
people like Grown Ups.
I thought it was one of those Adam Sandler like no one really
They just
likes
pump 'em
that.
out. They
You know,
pump 'em out.
they're all the same. They're stupid. You turn your brain off and laugh.
We watched Hubie Halloween, and even with the
didn't see
brain
that.
off in a jar in the closet, you cannot enjoy that movie.
That was filmed on a very
the
good
worst
friend of
Adam
mine
Sandler
street.
I'm sure it was.
Danvers.
Yeah, because they did it cheap, and he can hire all his friends, and they can all make money. And they
that's
all
what he
say
does.
good things about him
Right.
because he... Look, I would too. If I were friends with Adam Sandler and he put me in his movies and paid me $1 million just to show up and have a few laughs for 3 weeks.
But I do have some
But
laughs
it's a crap
when
movie.
I watch the movies. And I agree with you. They're not good movies. They're not. But, that's my boy. You're right, guy. That's my boy. Like, that's funny. It's
That's
a funny
My Boy
movie.
is different.
What are you doing?
That's a funny movie. I think there's
I
legit
agree.
funny moments in that movie.
That's another celebrity, Andy Samberg. Knew him a bit. Yeah, that was a good one. Him and the Lonely Island guys.
A good guy?
Yeah, very talented. So talented that you were like, what am I even doing? What am I even trying to do right now? Because those guys were just so talented. And when they got on SNL, you were like, they're going to blow it up. And they did.
Right.
Can I expose myself as a moron more so than I do? Absolutely knowing that 5 minutes after my N'Keal Harry take, I know he's going to catch eight for 89 tonight just because I said that. I saw Andrew Garfield interviewed today.
Yeah. You didn't know he was British?
No.
Spider-Man's British?
Am I the only one?
No, I did.
I'm
I mean,
the
I
only one
remember
that
being
didn't
surprised by
know?
that earlier just because of the Facebook movie.
I get surprised all the time by
People are British.
actors and actresses, women actors, I believe we're supposed to. I don't think actress is a thing anymore.
Actors, whatever.
But there seem to be a large number of women who are actors who are British and have just amazingly perfect American accents.
Yeah, Mayor of Easttown.
Right.
Killed it.
Right. Kyle in Korea, who's the mid-season MVP?
Mid-season MVP.
Mid-season MVP of the Patriots?
Yes.
Judon.
Yeah, I'd probably go Judon. I think they've had a lot of contributions from a lot of different guys, but I think he's been the consistent element, and he's reinvigorated that defense.
Rodrigo.
Blankenship?
Paul, what can we expect from Sean Wade tonight?
Hopefully some mop-up time, maybe a little zone coverage, maybe get him out there, get his feet wet.
Do you find that a little odd?
I don't know if I find it odd. I'm a little bit intrigued just because I would love to just get a look at him on the field. We never got to see him play in preseason. I'm just curious.
I'm wondering
how he
if
kinda
one of
fits in.
those guys is more banged up than we know.
Millsy
like Mills or someone.
Jawan. Maybe. It's possible. See how much he plays. I'm assuming he's going to be like special team snaps. You're not even going to notice.
If Miles Bryant or Juwan Williams or someone like that was inactive and Wade was in, that would make perfect sense.
Yeah, this just seems kind of like, I don't know. Maybe he's been practicing well. They want to get him some experience. Maybe.
I don't know. I really don't know what to expect from him tonight. I mean, hopefully, like Mike says, you get to see him.
I mean, I
special teams.
I would guess it's some special team snaps. You don't even notice them.
There you go. Lance in Korea. A couple of trivia questions. Since 2001,
South Korea, right?
Tom Brady,
East Korea,
led the Pats. The Tom Brady led Pats had one loss on a Thursday night. Name it.
The 2001 Patriots.
Since 2001, the Tom Brady led Patriots had one loss on a Thursday night. What was it?
Kansas City. Opening night, not really a Thursday night game.
Oh, I was there.
2017.
Okay. There you go. Yep.
The non-Tom Brady-led Patriots have had one Thursday night win. Name it.
Oh, was that the 2016 year? Was that?
No,
when he was out?
Since 2001, somebody has started.
Houston, Jacoby Brissett.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
That was a Thursday night game, huh?
Yep.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
One more email real quick.
Remind me to tell you why that's unbelievable.
Hey, guys, George from Virginia here. I'm glad I can listen to you guys instead of the awful pregame coverage on Fox. You guys are talking about Judon. I was wondering, do you guys have any idea what his sack celebration is? The only thing is wiping his chin.
Yeah. Wiping his brow.
Facing on the offense. Oh, I thought he was wiping his mouth because he just.
I think that's what he does.
The mouth?
Yeah,
I think it's sack lunch. I think it's the mouth. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I always worry because it kind of looks like he's doing the throat thing, which I think you get in trouble.
No, that's a no-no.
But he always wipes his mouth.
Be nice about it.
Let's do this six-pack.
This is the Sunday six-pack, so kick back and listen to the position. I'm itching to get the picks back. You better bring a big stack. Don't get it mixed, Jack. I came to win it, yeah, this is the Sunday six-pack.
All right, what happened last week? Where do we stand on the season, huh?
Last week, Hardy 3-3. Mike and Paul both went 2-2, which brings us to the season.
2-4.
2-4. Well, Jeebus. On the season, Hardy.
Jeebus?
Jeebus. Hardy 30-25. Paul 26-29. Mike 24-31.
All right, so we have 6 games to pick from. All Sunday games except for tonight. So let's lead us off. We got some 1 o'clockers on Sunday.
The 5-5 Indianapolis Colts at the 6-3 Buffalo Bills. Buffalo -7.
What do you think, Mike?
I think Buffalo is going to win. I will lay those points, especially being at Buffalo.
Ah, yes, in Buffalo. All right. Deuce is on the Bills, laying 7. Paul?
I am going to take the 7. I think Buffalo will win the game, but I'm looking for a backdoor cover.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think there is something about this Bills team that I don't want to lay a touchdown right now with the Bills. Not to the Colts, who are a middling team. So Paul and I are both going to take the Colts in 7 points.
Next, we have the 8-2 Green Bay Packers at the 4-5 Minnesota Vikings. Green Bay -2.
Paul?
I will take the Packers to keep their momentum going. I think the defense has played very well lately.
Only 2 points. Man, I would love to counter you and say I think the Vikings are going to keep their momentum going, but I don't think they are.
I think the Vikings are a better team than their record.
You know what? They're in Minnesota. I'm gonna take a leap of faith here and take Minnesota.
I'm going to take Green Bay, too.
All right. That could be a bad one for me.
Next, we're moving on to the 4 p.m. games. 5-4 Cincinnati Bengals at the 5-4 Las Vegas Raiders. Cincy -1.
Yeah, I like the Bengals in this one. I think the Raiders are still trying to figure out what their season is going to be, and until they know,
they don't know.
It's essentially a pick 'em. So until they know, they don't know. I'll take the Bengals.
Yeah, there's something about the Bengals being in Las Vegas that just it tweaks me a little bit. I'm going to take the Raiders at home.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bengals, too. I'm with Hardy because Hardy's leading, so I'm going to follow him.
The 7-2 Dallas Cowboys at the 6-4 Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City -2.5.
Deuce, back to you.
I like Dallas. I mean, I think they're rolling right now. Kansas City getting back on track, but I'm going to take the Cowboys.
I am going to take Kansas City on a hunch. I think this is the game of the week, one of the best games of the year. I'm looking forward to watching this one Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are at the point in the season where they are kind of figuring out
They got to start playing well.
that this is it. Do they really want to have this season, turn into an embarrassment? And getting beat at home by the Cowboys would be an embarrassment for them. They don't want that. Not that Dallas is a bad team.
No.
But they don't want to lose to. They don't want to lose to a. Is there a bigger 4:00 game on Sunday than this one?
No.
This is it. So
Not
Paul
a bigger
and
1 o'clock game either.
Paul and I both taking the Chiefs.
Sunday Night Football, 5-3-1 Steelers at the 5-4 Los Angeles Chargers. The LAC -5.5.
Paulie Paul.
I'm going to take the LAC. I don't think Pittsburgh is that great when they're at full strength. They're still dealing with some COVID issues. I will take the LAC.
Something about that 5.5 rubs me the wrong way. I think it's a point or two too many. I don't love the Steelers right now, but I think they can cover that spread. I'll take Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm going to take the LAC at home. I just don't love Pittsburgh.
That's fine.
The 6-4 New England Patriots at the 4-5 Atlanta Falcons. New England -7.5.
7.5. That went up.
That did go up.
Yeah.
I'll still take the Patriots. I'll take the Patriots to win tonight 31-20.
Ooh, nice. I will also take the Patriots. I think it's a low-scoring affair. I'm going to say Patriots 20-10.
Yeah, I'm going to make it unanimous. I think it's going to be kind of an ugly field goal-filled game, so good for you, Hardy, with Nick Folk. 26-13, England.
Put them on the good list right now. All right, for everybody involved with the Patriots pregame show fueled by Dunkin, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who was listening, watching, called in, emailed in. We hope that you will join us for a riveting post-game show that will go into the wee hours right after the game. We'll talk to you then.
Can't wait.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.